Sport.
We begin this broadcast by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which this match will be played today and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening. Welcome to the 2025 Sir Doug Nicholls round with ABC Sport.
Front and centre, Bobby Hill, where he should be, where he always is. Bobby Drill's got a couple.
Hello, I'm Charlie King, an ABC broadcaster and a proud Gurindji man. Over my 30 years in broadcasting, there's no disputing that Australian rules football has had a challenging history with its Indigenous players. From the heartbreaking...
Adams Goods has gone over to the crowd here and pointed quite demonstratively.
Adam Goods on the bench, clearly upset by what's happened here.
Kicks it inside 50, Goods the target, one-on-one, takes the mark, little nudge, plays on and goals.
Chorus of boos around Subiaco Oval.
What a terrible pit it should end like that.
To the groundbreaking.
I declare Gavin Wagan there the 1993 Brownlow medalist.
Someone mentioned tonight that I was the first Aboriginal to win it, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of my heritage.
And of course, the breathtaking.
Hand pass to the runner, Franklin in full flight, Buddy, unguarded, goal square, got it. That's exactly what that man can do. The ultimate entertainer.
The Sir Doug Nicholls round.
We've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go. This round is a chance to focus on those that lead the way and set the standard.
Please have conversations with your kids, your friends. Have those uncomfortable conversations, because that's the only way, like I said, that we're going to move forward in this nation.
Like all who play at the highest level, our Indigenous players have a varied path to the bright lights of the AFL, and this round lets us celebrate those journeys and hear their stories. This game is brilliant.
High up and under, Raken upstairs with the hang.
And our Indigenous players are brilliant.
It spills to Dudley, he's so deadly.
And I believe we can use that combination to make everyone better in all walks of life.
The 2025 Sir Doug Nicholls round.
So sit back, reflect and enjoy the call as we celebrate our culture and shine a spotlight on the best Indigenous players in our game.
Dispossessed him, took a bounce, runs to 45, kicks on goal. That'll give him something to cheer about in purple. Rioli in the goal square, suckers it through. Up by Pickett, who bounced it through. He's an excitement machine. Hands it to Powpepper. Rioli shines to the footy and then slams it into the hill.
You're listening to the Sir Doug Nicholls round with ABC Sport on ABC Radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app.
Sydney Swans return to the MCG for the first time since their grand final horror as skipper Callum Mills features for the first time in season 2025. While for the Demons, they've won 4 of their past 5 with a big win over the Brisbane Lions at the Gabba last week, looking to get their season back on track, while Christian Petrarca celebrates game 200 this afternoon. Hello, welcome to Sunday Footy on ABC Sport. Great to hear from so many of you on the Footy Forum. You can stay in touch with us throughout the afternoon on the SMS 0437 774 774. It does feel like it's high-stakes footy for both sides, with a winner to remain in touch with the top 8, while for the loser it will be 4 wins and 7 losses as we tick towards the halfway mark of the season. I'm Matt Clinch with you for ABC Sport. It's a cool 18 degrees in Melbourne, but the sun is out here at the MCG, and it is a warm place to come with the Demons, known as NAM, their First Nations name, for this afternoon's clash, taking on the Sydney Swans. There's no late changes. Taylor Adams returns, having been missed since round 1, while Harry Sharp will be the sub for the Demons this afternoon. Ben Cameron to call the action alongside me. Welcome to you, Benny.
Hello, Clinchy. Great to be at the cradle of football, the MCG, our cathedral of football, whatever you wish to call it. Looking forward to NAM, Melbourne, the moniker they're playing under, as you mentioned, in the 2 Sir Doug Nicholls rounds up against the Sydney Swans. You spoke about Sydney's grand final horror show. Which one? 2024, I think you were referring to, but there's 2022 as well. And since that one against Geelong, they've lost 7 of their 9 matches at the MCG, including that grand final. So it hasn't been a happy hunting venue for Sydney. No late changes for either side. Harry Sharp, the sub for Melbourne, and Taylor Adams for the Sydney Swans as he comes back in alongside Callum Mills, who we haven't seen for a long time with that plantar fascia issue, and Hayden McLean. Just the one change for Melbourne with Jake Lever coming back in, Tom McDonald omitted.
Adam Ramanauskas, the premiership player for the Bombers, is doing the mad dash from junior coaching to the
Coach
MCG.
K. Coach K, we're calling him, or Rick Pitino. Take your pick, but he's coming from junior basketball to join us here.
It's always a good afternoon when we have Bob Murphy, the two-time All-Australian 300 gamer, and of course captain of the Western Bulldogs. Welcome to you, Bob.
Gentlemen, it's great to be in your company this afternoon. What a perfect day to be at the MCG. I know we throw around certain phrases in football, and one of them is, it's a perfect day for football. But I can assure you that at this particular time in Melbourne of autumn, with the breeze down and the sun out and the MCG on a Sunday afternoon, this is absolute perfection. So it's a joy to be in your company, but also to see Nam and the Sydney Swans do battle. There's quite a few layers to this game, and I can't wait to ride every bump with you all.
So as we see the players going through their final preparations below us, who do you sort of believe in a little more, Bob? Obviously the Sydney Swans having reached the lofty heights of the grand final last year. Obviously their last game wasn't a great note to finish on, but they were the minor premiers. Dean Cox is trying to get this side up and running, and they get some key personnel returning with Callum Mills and Taylor Adams, who will be the sub this afternoon. Or the Demons, who have had a slow start to the season, but Jake Lever returns this afternoon. More of the key pieces are there for the Demons, and can they find their best this afternoon?
Without hesitation, I think the Demons will win today.
Wow.
So I love my country music. I left the cowboy hat at home, but I have a theory to put to you, and I'm keen to hear your thoughts and see how it plays out, because it's not based on a whole lot of science. In fact, none. It's based more on country music than it is any sort of stats. I think these two teams are the two broken-hearted teams of the AFL. And we're only a third of the way through the season, give or take. But I think both teams have played at various points this year like they've been broken-hearted. But I think that the Demons, whether they've had the right soundtrack, the right sad songs to listen to, I feel like maybe they've found something more. They've gone through their stages of grief and their pain, and the sunshine has come out, and I feel like they want to win. This will sound really, really harsh, and I think even maybe challenging for people to think of in terms of an analysis of a season. I don't know if Sydney want to get there. I think the grand final losses and the pain and the humiliation of what they've been through, this is on a subconscious level, and this is absolute amateur psychology. So don't call and text in and say, this is it. I know it's amateur psychology, and I know I don't have the scholastical backing to prove it, but I feel like watching the Swans this year, they've had a change of coach. It's almost like the idea of getting to the finals and potentially making a grand final so soon, it's just too much. I don't think in their hearts they even want to make it.
Well, that's what Ross Lyon always speaks about, taking the emotional risk again. You don't want to risk feeling that pain once more. So perhaps you're onto something there, Bob. What do they say about country music? It's 3 chords and the truth. So maybe Bob is across something here. It's been a big weekend for country music.
Country music, they say it's just the same song. It's just one song, just sort of slightly shifted and moved around, and a couple of chords here and there. But it's just rhinestones and sadness, you know.
Well, it's been a big week for country music on ABC Sport. We spoke about Don Schlitz on Thursday night, the famed country music writer more than singer, who wrote The Gambler as well as You Say It Best and a few other songs. So
classic.
Yeah, we were discussing that back on Thursday night. But I like your take on Sydney, and on a serious note, straightening it back up about teams being willing to risk feeling that pain again. And the embodiment of that is none other than Dane Rampy. So this is a guy who started his career as a mature age product in 2013, so missed the 2012 flag, has played in 4 losing grand finals.
I actually wasn't aware of that.
So my heart breaks for Dane Rampy. Like when they lost last year, he was the guy that I was looking to thinking, this is so cruel that he's played in so many and not been able to win one.
Well, at a glance, and that what you've just said there has kind of stunned me a little bit. That has sort of jelly-legged me a little bit. Because of the Bloods culture that I've talked about in your company as well, that has been the gold standard for such a long period of time. For those who are involved in footy but sport, of like building cultures and the otherness that some clubs and places have. I would have thought, just looking at the Swans out there, Dane Rampy probably encapsulates the Bloods culture as much as any of those players. He'd probably be the one that I've named, and I didn't realise he'd missed out on 2012. So that's this game, for all its beauty, and we talked about the weather and in the Melbourne autumn and the MCG, it's got a sting in its tail, footy, doesn't it?
It certainly does. We're in good company with Bob Murphy and Ben Cameron, starting on a nice note. Brodie Grundy, of course, has played in 5 losing grand finals. When you think about his time at Collingwood, transitioning to Melbourne, that didn't work, and now he is at the Sydney Swans. So, storylines left, right and centre. You spoke about the brokenhearted. Christian Petrarca celebrates game 200 this afternoon. It's been a delicate relationship since what took place on King's birthday, as he tries to rediscover with his body to have the confidence to do what he has to do as a job. And that relationship which broke down between he and the club and those in those positions of power where he expected a little more in terms of their support and well-being, more so for his family, I think, rather than him. How does he get back to the best of his footy? Because when he plays like he did last week, and Max Gawn plays how he does, and if they can get Clayton Oliver to come along once more, then all of a sudden Melbourne look like they're a bit more of the side they used to be.
He's an emotional player, and he strikes me from afar to be an emotional man. So I think sometimes we might read into these things a little bit too deeply, just because Christian shares these things. He'll put it out there, and his body language is easier to read than others, and he talks to the media, and he tells his story in more detail than most. But I mean, I was caught recently where he spoke, and I am paraphrasing a little, but he said, people inside, they know. The people inside this footy club, they know who I am and that I'm a Melbourne man. I tend to believe that. And it's not that the other things aren't true either, but I just think we kind of ride the ups and downs with Christian Petrarca and how he falls in and out of, maybe not in and out of love with his footy club, but those things can be strained, and I think that's probably more sincere than what a lot of other players are, where things are just always great and everything's sunshine and rainbows, where that's not necessarily true either.
And also, I mean, the sense I get is that Christian is such a professional, and that in some ways he has a bug-eyed intensity, the likes of which you sometimes see with Alistair Clarkson. I think of Jim Harbaugh in the NFL, for those who follow that sport. He wants greatness and he wants excellence, and maybe he feels like at sometimes Melbourne have fallen short of that, and that's frustrated and agitated him. Can that be real too?
I think so. This is a question more than a statement, but do you think we're in the era now within the AFL that there's the AFL players, there's the landscape, the environment, and the general feel of 800 players, but then there's this very top layer, and I'm talking about the Christian Petrarca, Marcus Bontempelli, Toby Green, the creme de la creme. I feel like we are in an era now where those players are almost more like NBA superstars, and I think Christian Petrarca is very much in that category of, people were up in arms and raised eyebrows when instead of going to the best and fairest, he goes, no, I'm going to I'm going to a training camp overseas. And there's this sort of chasm between the traditionalists of, well, no, you don't do that. You go to the best and fair. And that's a view. And also his view is, you know what, I want to be the best, and I want to drag the standards of my footy club to a place it's never been before. Those two things can both be right.
Can they though? I mean, you've been a club captain, so that my immediate response to that is, how does that fit with, I think, a very different culture in the United States to an Australian culture where it's sort of, if we're one, we're all in it together and everybody is equal?
My preference would be go to the best and fairest. I don't think that they are mutually exclusive, but I do think we're in an era now where some of the top liners, they do view themselves different to the champions of the past.
I agree.
There's this thirst and hunger and curiosity around, how good could I be? What else is out there? What could I do? I've got the means to do it. And if I have to upset a few people along the way, well, so be it. Part of me admires it. Part of me thinks, well, there's a bravery to that. And I think, I wouldn't have been brave enough to do that. But also, there's a safety, and also, there's a morality to the way other people think about it too, of, no. You can be curious and try and get better and do your own training. There are certain ceremonial, symbolical things that just need to be done. So, I think Christian Petrarca, he's an intrigue to me.
What about as a player? Like, what is he, in your view, as a Norm Smith medalist, and if you're looking at his legacy through his first 200 games, what do you think of?
What do I think of? I'm shocked that he's played 200 games. I thought he was younger than that. He's still... This is all part of ourselves growing up. You think, oh, yeah, I'm still young. Well, I'm not. Well, I'm not. But
no, he's 29 all of a sudden now. Yeah.
He's played more games than I thought he has. At his best, and he's gotten to his best quite a bit. There really isn't too many gaps in his game. There really isn't too many gaps in his game. Someone so big and powerful and creative, beautifully skilled, and he's got that confidence of... There are times in games you watch him and he can have a look at the scoreboard, the situation, and go, you know what, it's now time for me to shift this game and drag it my way. But I think watching him from afar, I don't know, I think he struggles at times with the me-we thing. You know, that if you want to boil down culture and leadership into its absolute essence, well, the Muhammad Ali poem of me-we, you're not going to get better than that. That is that, and I think the champions of the game and most of them have to wrestle with this at times of trying to be the best player. And there's nothing wrong with ambition. There's nothing wrong with trying to be the best player in the competition in your club and on the ground on any certain day. But it has to fit in with the we. And sometimes I wonder if he's internalised that a bit and battled with it a bit. That's not shots at Christian Petrarca. That's the lot for these guys at that top bracket.
200 games for Christian Petrarca for Nam this afternoon. We're at the MCG. Bob Murphy alongside Matt Clinch and Ben Cameron. Adam Romanascus to join you on the SMS 0437 774 774. Gareth says, I think there's quite a lot of sense in what Bob Murphy is putting forward. And from Rob in Greensboro to quote Xander Harris of Buffy, the Vampire Slayer, country music, the music of pain. So we're getting some mixed response in terms of the country music analogy, but you can join us 0437 774 774. We'll take you inside both camps, inside the Sydney Swans and the Demons. Dan Sultan, the Australian musician, is just warming up below us. So I'll bring you a little taste of that as well when he is ready to go in a few moments' time. But, of course, the backdrop to this afternoon, the Demons looking to try and keep their season going, having won 4 of their last 5. And the Sydney Swans, Dean Cox's first season as the coach of the Sydney Swans. They had a win against the Blues last week. They need to keep it going if they're going to feature in the top 8. We're going to have a bit of a listen to Dan Sultan, who's performing down below us on the members' side.
I made our bed in we'd treat life, pretend that we don't hear mothers cry. Led by leaders we deserve, all our penance we will serve. And I'm waiting for the kingdom. And I'm waiting for the kingdom. We walk together to the jungle, to the other side. We're running away from everything that we left behind. Do you remember anything? 'Cause I can remember everything. So who's coming with me? Yeah, who's coming with me to the kingdom? Now while I see the sun come up on high, it's breaking through the cold of night. Now well, it thaws me out right to my bones. It's come to take me home. Oh, and I'm waiting for the kingdom. And I'm waiting for the kingdom. We walk together through the jungle to the other side. And we're running away from everything that we left behind. But do you remember anything? I can remember everything. Oh, it's coming with me. Yeah, it's coming with me to the kingdom. Oh, now I'm waiting for.
Australian music icon Dan Sultan, who's performing below us on the members' side here at the MCG. He is a 7-time ARIA Award winner. I don't think we do this enough where we have the live music. I mean, you guys are tapped into the country music, but there's something about being out there with a guitar, being able to have a voice like his that, while there's not the biggest crowd here, it's probably, 15,000, maybe 20,000 here at the MCG. I think it's a great entertainment piece.
I would like to see more of that, maybe even on Grand Final day.
Yes.
Less is more sometimes.
I think so.
Keep it simple. Just on Dan Sultan, here's an Indigenous Australian, a part of the Arrernte and Gurindjeri people, and his mother is actually a direct descendant of Vincent Lingyari, who our mutual friend is actually Bob's friend, Paul Kelly, sung about so famously.
Yeah,
so quite incredible connection, and that's why he is fittingly performing for Sir Doug Nichols' round.
A passionate Saints supporter too, Dan Sultan, but if there's a better singing voice in Australia, then I'm not quite sure who it is off the top of my head. He is a charismatic powerhouse of a performer, that's for sure.
I'm telling Paul.
There's a few names being dropped in the commentary box. At the Adelaide Oval, it's the Crows who lead by 17 points over the Eagles. 8-6-54 to the Eagles, 5-7-37. There is an ABC call available. If you want to listen to that, it's on the ABC Listen app. Just click on the AFL Extra button. The Adelaide Crows led by 6 points at quarter time, by 17 at half time. Riley Thilthorpe has a couple of goals, 4 goals to 2 in the second term. And in the third term, it's the Adelaide Crows who lead by 17 points. Matt Clinch alongside Ben Cameron, Bob Murphy with you, Adam Ramanauskas for the call. Lauren Borden has headed down to the boundary and will take us inside both camps before the game gets underway. Jamie on the SMS on 0437 774 774. Talking about country songs, can we have a word to Charlie Cameron and get him to drop John Denver's song after every goal? I love him kicking goals, but West Virginia, take me home, please. I think that's against popular opinion, isn't it? Most people love it.
My favourite part of it is after they cut the music and the crowd continues at a cappella. I love that moment.
Oh, a cappella, nice. She didn't you just lift the standard in the commentary box? Oh, I think the Charlie Cameron Take Me Home Country Road is that's the perfection of it.
Yep.
I think that's the absolute masterpiece of that game day entertainment.
And Jeremy Cameron's kind of gone with a little bit of a tawdry knockoff, so to speak, with The Gambler. Like it's kind of nearly there, but not quite as good.
Yeah, there's nothing quite like the original. I think Charlie beat him to the punch there.
It's worth us mentioning as well, when you're not listening to us on ABC Sport, which you should be through the entirety of the weekend, there is a great channel you can discover on the ABC Listen app, ABC Country, during the week, given all of the plugs we've given for country music today.
Very nicely done.
Well, there's a lot of talk about the music, but what did you think about my theory? Do you think that the Swans...
Bang on.
I think you need a circuit breaker sometimes, and they've had that with John Longmire deciding that the time was right to change over and transition to Dean Cox. And when you've got to minor premiers and you have to rebuild, it's going to be hard to instill that belief, isn't it, that we've got what we need to go to that next step, having, I guess, failed so dismally at the final hurdle on the big occasion. But
it's on the page, though, isn't it? And there's so much of footy that's not on the team sheet. But it's quite the drop. You know, it's a staggering drop, and you have to look at the psychology of it, and it just makes me wonder: are they just too bruised from it?
Oh, I think there's a lot that goes into that as well. And let's not forget, 2016, they entered a heavy favourite against the Western Bulldogs. Like, the Bulldogs were rank outsiders.
Were they really? Is that how it was?
Not to put too fine a point on the betting element of it, because it's not my aim, but they were... people have told me since, something like $1.20, $1.30 favourite. So they were a heavy favourite, and the Bulldogs very much surprised them. 2022 as well against Geelong, like blown off the park, and then again last year. So eventually those scars do run deep.
It's not the losing of the grand final, is it? It's the being humiliated and it being so... it happening so early and similarly. You know, so close together that it makes sense to me. You know, this is not me criticising. I can totally understand it, but I just wonder, in their heart of hearts, is it just too soon? They just need more time to regroup and put that emotional armour back on to risk having their hearts broken again. That's essentially what will happen at some point. Can they put it all on the table to risk having their hearts broken?
And I guess if you look at both of these sides, they both have deficiencies inside their forward 50, which is probably why they're not in the position they'd love to be inside the top 8. Melbourne have played Bailey Fritsch in the VFL. Jacob Van Rooyen is not in this lineup. Cosy Pickett has returned, and they've looked at a more dynamic forward line with a smaller bevy of options. And the Sydney Swans, without Joel Amartey, they wrestle as to how much can they put Callum Mills up forward and deprive the midfield of his time. And now with the return of Callum Mills, who has played in the VFL, so he won't be quite at full fitness, and Taylor Adams is the sub this afternoon. They are starting to get more of the key pieces in which they need.
Yeah, we'll get into the specifics, I'm sure, as the first bounce progresses. But yeah, certainly the forward lines and the little battles within the broader battle will play a huge part.
And someone you would know from your time at Fremantle, playing his 100th game today, Joel Hamling. So congratulations to Joel.
I was a teammate of Joel's.
Of course.
Yeah. He spent a little bit of time at Geelong before that. And then, was at Fremantle with Joel, where he had to navigate terrible injuries at Fremantle and
ankle injuries.
He had a shocking ankle injury that almost ended his career. So he's had to really fight and go around the long way. So for him to play 100 games is a special moment for any player. But full credit to Joel, because there's been various times where it looked like his career might be done and dusted. So he's found a nice little niche at the Swans.
Played a heck of a grand final in 2016 against Sydney as well on a certain player who, I won't tell you who, but I'll give you his initials, Lance Buddy Franklin. Is a pretty handy player.
Can you imagine going to sleep the night before a grand final and you know in the team meeting that your magnet, you just quickly glance up and go, Al Franklin, rings a bell. Oh, there's my name underneath.
You wouldn't be happy with that, would you? Played a heck of a game there. I'm not sure he's the long-term solution at full forward for Sydney, though.
Well, I'm not going to be drawn into a headline, but probably not. Probably not.
Have Logan McDonald to return, but the speculation has been that there is money on the table for the Swans as they try and lure maybe a big fish. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Matt Clinch alongside Ben Cameron to call the action. Lauren Borton down on the boundary. Bob Murphy and Adam Ramanauskas will be your experts throughout the call. Some of the other key talking points across the round. I'm not sure, Bob, your thoughts on the incident last night in the match between the Dockers and the Power. Alex Pearce coming one way, Darcy Byrne-Jones coming the other. Here's our commentary team on ABC Sport called it last night.
Spills down to Atkins of the Power, kicks inside 450. Oh, Byrne-Jones crunched by Pearce. And Byrne-Jones is down flat and almost out cold. And the Power players come to remonstrate with the Fremantle captain. That is an enormous collision.
So with concussion being so prevalent at the moment, trying to do everything we can to eliminate these sort of moments, it feels like Alex Pearce is going to have a little break here. How did you view it?
I viewed it as it's probably the most specific example you can get for an AFL footballer's worst nightmare in terms of a situation to be put in on the field. For both players.
Yep.
For both players. Player going back with the flight, that's the one that keeps you up at night the night before. Gee, when the game asks that question of me, what will I do? What should I do? Do I keep my eye on the ball? What's coming the other way? I have no idea. That's football's boogie monster. Alex Pearce, he's playing the game. He has a responsibility to play the ball and take what's coming the other way. Was there any malice in it? There was absolutely zero. So the question, we can have the conversation around, was there malice? And often it's a moot point because you say, well, there was an alternative. I look at that. I don't see an alternative for Alex Pearce either.
The only alternative is he jumps out of the way and then he gets crucified.
Well, that's not an option.
Yeah. So that's not a valid alternative.
So as in my understanding of how the game is adjudicated, that isn't fair.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think there's other circumstances. I think we saw young Jackson Archer where it came in, and I was of the view then, and because the footy industry was up in arms of it, and I looked at that and I thought, you know what, like, is there any malice in it? No. Was there another option? Yes. This one, I don't think there was.
Is there a chance that Michael Christian looks at it and just says, look, it doesn't fit into the matrix for me, I'm sending that straight to the tribunal? I don't think that's out of the question.
No, that's how I would view it. That's my personal view of it. I don't think Alex had another option. I don't think he overplayed the situation. He's playing the ball. He's body movements, and I've only seen it a couple of times, so that needs to be put forward as well. Again, though, we look at these things through the peephole a lot of the actual incident, and I am very much of the view that we can look at this incident and slow it down and reverse angle and take evidence. I do feel like that there's a much bigger lens of future litigation around what did the game say about this incident in 20 years' time. Did the game say that that's fine and that's a part of it? Or did the game say we actually can't accept a player having such a traumatic head injury?
But then there has to be a remedy, right? Sorry to...
No, please. No, I'm...
So then what...
I'm
like you were saying,
fascinated by the conversation.
There's no alternative. So there has to be an avoidance strategy to avoid the incident.
So this would be my view of it, that if the game, and we'll call it the game, if the game decides that what Alex Pearce did deserves a suspension, then what the game is telling us that there is a certain moment where if you think that there's going to be any contact, that you actually have to jump out of the way. I don't know if that's fair. I don't know if that's fair, and it's so unfortunate. No one wants to see anyone injured in this way, so don't even suggest that. That's not what I'm saying for 1 second. And there is split-second differences that we may see where I would be like, you know what, that player, in this moment it's Alex Pearce, in another moment it might be a different player, and there's a split-second and go, well, actually, you had the wherewithal to make a different decision and to spoil without taking the body, whatever it is. I feel like this is the most accurate nexus point of the worst moment for a footballers in 2025.
And then the challenge for Fremantle is, depending on what happens with the match review officer today, they'll have to make their case on Tuesday to try and argue as to why Alex Pearce deserves to be suspended for the period of time which you've illustrated there. At the Adelaide Oval, the Crows lead the Eagles by 28 points. The Crows with 3-1 so far in this third quarter. 11-7-73 to the Eagles 6-9-45.
So just on that, if you were to put it in the matrix, which Michael Christian may do, conduct careless, impact is going to be severe because of what happened to Darcy Byrne-Jones. So whether that was Alex making contact with the head of Darcy Byrne-Jones, or when he hit the ground, his head rebounding off the hard surface at Perth Stadium, and the contact is probably going to be high, irrespective of all of that. So that's 3 matches or more. Maybe you could make a case that he didn't make contact with the head and make that contact body, but that's 2 or more matches at the tribunal as well. So that's if it goes into the very black and white matrix that the AFL do have.
And then I suppose the other element to that, and again, I do want to stress the point, I've seen it twice, maybe 3 times. The things that come into consideration, Alex Pearce, what are his eyes looking at?
He did look at Byrne-Jones just before the ball arrived, which I don't think is unnatural or unreasonable. You can speak to that.
There's a difference, isn't there, of something coming into your line of sight or looking at something and then making your movement, and whether the jumping and leaving the ground was unreasonable in the situation. Now, to my eye, Alex Pearce did everything in terms of it being reasonable, and I know Alex and I know the way he plays. I've watched him up close. There's an element of care. There is. That will be difficult for a lot of people to hear, and they may disagree, and that's okay too. But I watched that. That's Alex Pearce attacking a contest at a 6 out of 10.
Bob Murphy.
You can go to 10.
Yeah. Yep. Bob Murphy with you on ABC Sport. You would have heard in the background the Swans have made their way out onto the MCG, and Max Gawn leads the Demons out and through the banner, celebrating 200 games for Christian Petrarca, their Norm Smith medalist, as the Demons make their way through the banner. So a chance to focus in on the 2 sides this afternoon. The Swans taking on Narm. And as Melbourne make their way out to the race, a chance to head inside the Sydney camp we'll start with. And Lauren Borden's down on the boundary line with one of their assistant coaches, Ben Matthews.
Thanks, Clinchy. I'm down boundary side with Ben Matthews from the Swans. We have to start with the big in today. Your captain, Callum Mills, back in. How pumped is he to get back out there, and the rest of the side as well, to have him out there?
Yeah, we touched on it in our last team meeting yesterday. It's awesome for him. I mean, he's had a wretched run over the last, 18 months, 2 years. So to have him back out for the team, for the supporters, and just for himself is just very, very special. We'll get behind him. We're not expecting miracles today, but it's just great to have his leadership and his presence out there as well.
That's what I wanted to ask you about, is the expectation on him. He played well in the VFL last week when he came back, but you're right, he's only played, I think it was 7 games last year and none this year. So what do you want to see from him?
Yeah, I mean, leadership, presence, we're expecting he performs, but we're not expecting a Callum Mills of 22, 23 just yet. He performed well at VFL, but as everyone knows, VFL level's a long way under. He got about sort of 90-odd minutes last week, so that was pleasing, and we're just expecting him to play his role within the team tonight.
And Taylor Adams is another one that hasn't had the greatest run when it comes to injury. So what would you like to see out there from him today?
Yeah, bring his pressure. He's hunter the footy. He's hunter the man with the footy. He's great at that, and his experience as well. He's been playing forward a little bit more and pinch hits in the midfield. But he's experienced to guide our young forwards. We've had a bit of a makeshift forward line over the course of the season, so he'll be really valuable. Out on the ground in that regard.
So what does that forward line look like again today? It's just changed week in, week out, basically across this season. How is it setting up today?
Yeah, obviously we've missed, Papley and the like a fair bit. Marty's out this week for a few weeks, so Hayden McLeod comes back into the team. Obviously, you touched on Taylor, and Millsy will spend some time up there as Justin McInerney has spent time there over the course of the season. So we'll rotate numbers through there. Obviously, the most consistent's probably been the Haywoods and the likes that, have got experience as well. So it's been a little bit makeshift. Hopefully we start getting some troops back shortly.
Do you like Joel Hamling down there? Game 100 for him, and he's kind of been thrown forward to fill a hole, I guess.
Yeah, he's kicked a couple of goals, which he hadn't done in the past. So he's been really valuable. He is experienced now. It's his 100th game today. He's got premiership experience. He doesn't get too flustered which end of the ground he plays, but he's certainly played a really good role forward for us on a opposition intercept mark like a Wiedering or Sam Taylor. So he'll be down there again, and we're expecting him just to do his job well.
And we know how good Isaac Heaney is, and he showed it again last week. He did have 8 scoring shots. Would you just love if he kicked a few more as well to help you out in the forward line? Yeah,
he and Chad have done a good job, rotating through that forward line, and we've needed them too. So really valuable, whether they get a couple of shots on goal or 7 or 8, we like both, but just their presence up there, they take a good defender, and they have scoreboard impact. So both of those guys do a good job when forward, but he's a special player to have in our team, no doubt.
And the Demons and the Swans both on equal points. It's a big game coming into today. How much weight do you put onto it, given the impact on your season and staying in touch with the top 8?
Yeah, a lot of weight. I mean, they're in really, really good form, the Ds. They've come off a great win last week against the Lions. And their last month's been pretty important for them, and great football. So around the contest, around the clearance, we're going to need to match them. Lever comes back into their team with May and their experienced premiership backmen. So we're going to, we're going to have our work cut out. There's no doubt about that, and we're going to have to be right on song. And they're finding a way forward. Cozzy Pickett and Petrarca spend time forward, are very, very dangerous players. Melksham hits the scoreboard and plays that negating role as well. So it's going to be a big job. We're prepared for it. Now we've got to go and execute our game style.
Sounds like plenty of headaches for the coaching staff to solve throughout today. Thanks for your time, Ben. Really appreciate it on ABC Sport ahead of the game.
Yeah, thanks, Lauren. Thank you.
Thanks to Ben Matthews and to Lauren Borden down on the boundary as we take you inside the Sydney camp. There's no late changes for either side, with Taylor Adams the sub for the Swans this afternoon and Harry Sharp for Nam for the Demons. So, Bob, maybe a thought or two on the Sydney Swans as to what you're most intrigued about this afternoon from them.
Look, the quality is clearly there. So they're the most beautiful kicking team perhaps in the league when they're on song. My question mark for Sydney today is when they are challenged, and Melbourne are good enough and they're in enough form to challenge them right from the very start. But what happens when the Demons get a run on, or when they take it to them physically? Can the Swans find it to go another gear? So part of that is the contest around the ball. We'll see, what's the appetite like just to compete? but we have this beautiful view up here to be able to see that fight, that will. It's not just around the ball. It's away from it. How much do they want to work to defend? So something as basic as uncontested marks for Melbourne today, that used to be a gauge for how much you wanted to work and how much you wanted to run. When the Swans/Bloods are playing close to that football that we know them for, they were always the most fanatical off the ball. So outside of what we see on the TV screen, they were always the best. They would check their opponents. They would leave their own opponent to go and man someone up. They were the absolute best. They were the league standard of that. So that's the sort of appetite I'm looking for today. Around the ball, we'll get a really good, clear view of that early. Can they shut down Melbourne on the outside? But also, if Melbourne get a run on, or if the Swans find themselves down by a few goals, can they find it in their hearts?
I work a lot with Paul Roos now on the ABC AFL Daily Pod, and he's always watching.
You've dropped a lot of names today.
a lot of podcasts.
All of them Paul.
It's
Paul
called
Kelly, Paul Roos. If you drop Paul Bongiorno next, I'm out.
It's crafting, Bob. I'm driving people to our content. And he speaks a lot about some texts he's received. I'm a big fan of Paul Bongiorno, by the way, as well.
Did you see how quickly I reached for that?
I did. A lot of texts. Un-Sydney-like, not defending well enough, not hard enough, not enough tackles, wave the white flag. I don't think I'm misquoting Roosie there. That those are a lot of the texts that he's referenced on air during the podcast about what he's seen with Sydney this year.
I spoke to Paul Keating. He had actually.
He said this will be a win for the true believers.
Yeah. He said, "How did you get my number and who were the Swans?" But there's similar.
Bob Murphy, Ben Cameron, Matt Clinch and Adam Ramanauskas for the call to take place. And, of course, we'll keep you across the events at the Adelaide Oval, where the Crows hold a 50-point lead now, heading to three-quarter time. 14-11-95 to the Eagles, 6-9-45. It is the 200th game for Christian Petrarca. Jack Lever comes in for the Demons at the expense of Tom McDonald, while for the Sydney Swans they get Callum Mills in for his first game of season 2025. Taylor Adams returns for his first match since round one, and Hayden McLean comes in for McInerney, Amadi and Francis. We are having the players gather in front of us on the broadcast side here of the MCC, and in a couple of moments' time we'll be able to take you inside the Welcome to Country, and the festivities will take place below us. The crowd has continued to build. They're mostly on the members' side here, where the Melbourne fans will take their seats, and good to see a few of the old Sydney South Melbourne fans are in attendance. They're mostly at the city end as well. Let's take you down to Russell Robertson.
Toyota AFL Sir Doug Nichols round match between the home team Nam and the Sydney Swans Football Club. To commence ceremonies, please welcome Wurundjeri Elder Auntie Joy Murphy for a traditional Welcome to Country.
Hey, thanks, Robbo. What better than to have someone on their home ground than Robbo? So it's a really nice introduction. Thank you. I'd like to begin today by saying how honoured and proud that I am to have this wonderful opportunity in my lifetime for those who are here on this ground long before a lot of you were born, and of course going back to those earlier days, all the players, including our Indigenous men, played so many games for us to be here, and for our current players to keep that happening today. And in particular, I want to start with saying that this is my father's traditional land, and it's such an honour. I wish he was here, but I know he's here with us in spirit for everyone to be together. I want to pay respects to my ancestors, elders and communities across this great nation and neighbouring islands. I also and especially want to recognise Sir Doug Nichols in the 10th year, and which is an amazing effort, and thank you to all who kept this going. I knew Sir Doug, Uncle Doug, when I was a young girl, and he was a gentleman. He was a man short in stature but big in heart. And of course, he's one of those that has given us this wonderful opportunity to be today. I want, of course, to acknowledge all, especially our Indigenous players, both past and present, And particularly today is such a big one for the young ones who I know feel quite overwhelmed. But let me tell you that our past players are feeling the same emotion. And I want to include our wonderful AFLW girls. They are just amazing, and it's a shame that we can't have them here on this ground today, but keep looking after them as they continue to grow. We, the Wurundjeri, are known as the Manigum people, and I extend this gift to you. I take a leaf on your behalf, and I hope that you accept it, because if you do, it means you join with us to honour the spirits of our ancestors who have nurtured this very land for thousands and thousands of years. And again, it is my great privilege and I'm extremely proud. Today is going to be a wonderful match. Good luck to Melbourne, of course, to Sydney, our visitors. And of course, we always play sport in the best way we can. So my heart goes out to each and every one of you that have come from far and wide. And our language is the Woi Wurrung. Women Jakar Wurundjeri Balak, Yemen Kundi Big. And you are most welcome to the traditional lands of the Wurundjeri Woi Wurrung people. Notch Kanwa. Thank you.
Thank you, Auntie Joy, for that welcome to country. This concludes today's Sir Doug Nichols round ceremony.
Thank you to Auntie Joy, and thanks to Russell Robinson down there for the ceremony which has taken place. It's Nam taking on the Sydney Swans, and we are just a couple of minutes away from the opening bounce. Matt Clinch and Ben Cameron to call the action. Lauren Borden is down on the boundary. Bob Murphy and Adam Ramanauskas are your experts on ABC Sport. Welcome, Rama.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Just coaching the youth of tomorrow. So we had another win, which was nice. So Strathmore versus Aberfeldy, which is always a nice game, but wrapped to be here. I think Melbourne are starting to turn the corner with their form and the way they're playing. More importantly, they've really gone away from that contest clearance game that we've become so accustomed to, and they're trying to move the ball a lot more now. So, and Sydney, they're just paddling at the moment. They're just paddling away. I think, albeit they won last week, I understand that, but they still need some troops.
Slight husk in that voice.
Well, a little bit of yelling. Yeah, a little bit of yelling. That's why I just got to...
We only say that because we'll get to Nam and the Swans in a second. We've dissected it pretty solidly already, but we got a text in early, though you did coach a win that perhaps you were out-coached.
Well, I don't know if you can get out-coached if you win.
That was also in the text, so that's going to be part of the external review at the end of the season.
Well, there's always a debrief at the assistant coach's house over a bottle of red, so
we've dragged you away from that.
We'll see how we go tonight.
That's the real review.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun coaching junior football, and well, particularly when you see the kids improve every week.
Callum Mills is making his way out to the centre circle alongside Joel Hamling this afternoon, who celebrates his 100th game, and Stephen May with Cozzy Pickett and Christian Petrarca in game 200 out there for the coin toss. So maybe just some rapid-fire thoughts as to where you think this game is going to be decided, Rama and Merv, with so much to be played for between these two sides.
Well, look. I always look at Melbourne's forward line. That's always the big watch for me. What they're doing, the connection piece with their midfield we speak about so often. But I also think, there's a personnel piece too in Melbourne's forward line and what it is. I'd love to see Christian Petrarca play down there more. Like whether that's, that higher sort of half forward, Bob, which, it's such an attacking weapon in today's game. And then that allows Sparrow and the like to Rivers to come up into the midfield and get some real prominent minutes in there. So that's a watch for me. Sydney, well, Cal Mills coming back is a big help because he can play back, he can play midfield, he can play a run with role, whatever you need be. So that's one troop back of a few that they're still missing. Again, and I look at Sydney, and I'm a watch on their forward line as well. Without Papley, I think Papley is probably their most important player, Bob.
He is. The small forwards in this competition can wreak absolute havoc. For me, the big picture is what's in their hearts. I feel like Melbourne are hungrier at the moment than the Swans. That's very broad, but on a really small scale, I'm hoping, as a football appreciator, that Nick Blakey goes to Bailey Fritsch. Both left footers, both match winners. That's a matchup that I think could talk to a much bigger story in terms of who has the dominance today.
The final member of our team is Lauren Borden, sitting in the front row this afternoon. Hello, Loz.
Thanks, Clinchy. Absolutely stunning down here. 18 degrees. You wouldn't want to be anywhere else as Harry Sharp makes his way as a sub for the Demons. Taylor Adams at the back. He comes back and he'll be sitting at the back of the bench for the Swans as play gets underway.
Old faces in new places. Gawn and Grundy go at it. Winning the opening tap is Grundy. Follows up at ground level. Out after it, Petrarca. Salem goes in. Feeds out the handball for the D's. Away towards Lindsay. Kicks up to half forward. Mark taken by Fritsch. Wide out at half forward.
I called this.
And alongside Nick Blakey. Yes, right on cue.
Mark taken 49.5 metres out. Little burst of sunshine through the back of the Ponsford stand. Out onto the MCG surface, 18 degrees Celsius and sunny. Fritsch in the customary long sleeves. His drop punt is hard left. And this is wide narrow, and that's not even a minor score to begin.
It probably means the Swans win on the back of my theory.
Sunday footy on ABC Sport, round 11 from the MCG. No score through the opening minute.
So 8 goals, 13 for Bailey Fritsch so far this season. It would have been a positive note to start on. Although Rowbottom's kick out of defence of the Sydney Swans is chopped off by Max Gawn, and he will be a presence this afternoon as he claims it for Nam at left half forward. The All-Australian ruck veers out to the right and drives it inside 50 in the direction of Petty. Flying and crashing the pack was Turner had cannoned his way through. Petty tries to fend off the tacklers, and the umpire is going to ball it up with Rowbottom and also Lloyd laying the tackle. It's only about 15 metres out from Melbourne's goal.
Umpire puts it aloft. Gawn takes it out of the ruck, gets it on the boot, snaps on goal, swings it through. One over his old mate early. First goal of the afternoon. 1 straight 6, plays no score, 2 minutes in. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Adam Ramanauskas and Bob Murphy. And that is very nice when you're coming up against your former teammate.
Well, sometimes we can make too much of individual matchups, but just in the last 30 seconds, ball is kicked out. Max Gawn takes his customary mark outside 50, goes back, puts it into the hot spot. Who gets in the way? Brodie Grundy. Then there's the ruck contest, deep inside 50. Max Gawn pushes him out of the way and snaps it over his left shoulder. The influence that these two guys have on most weeks is pronounced, but just in that 30 seconds, we've seen just how much of an impact on the outcome of this game those two will have.
Bob Murphy with you on ABC Sport. The elite ruckmen make it look so easy as they capitalise, and Max Gawn strikes first. Grundy wins down the tap, back in the middle of the ground. Petrarca trying to bust his way through. He was tackled and brought down by Sheldrick. Little toe poke from Lindsay is chopped off by Chad Warner. He kicks the Swans up towards half forward, where Hamlin comes out to greet it. One way, then the other. Hand pass over Stephen May. Awkward bouncing ball for Cal Mills on his return. He's worked off it. May gets the hand pass away to Turner. Kicks up the wing. A bouncing ball from Melcham. He can't take it cleanly. It ricochets off him. The hand pass from Lloyd. Close to the boundary line. Bice keeps it alive. Gets the hand pass away to Sheldrick. Kicks up towards half forward. Awkward bouncing ball for Hayward, who was looking to the sun. He bounces into his own teammate in Rowbottom, who pinches the footy from him. Kicks inside 50. May in front. Tackled by Hamling. And the umpire will ball it up in the left forward pocket for the Sydney Swans. Melbourne by a goal. I should say Nam. 3 minutes gone. Opening term on ABC Sport.
Umpire puts it aloft. Grundy taps it down. Trying to burst through Sheldrick. Almost throws it out. He did. There's a free kick in there somewhere. It's going to Salem. Salem moves it on quickly. Kicks laterally into the back pocket. Mark taken by Lindsay, who stabs it short to Judd McVie. He wants to poke it on to Lindsay, who's run on the back flank.
Quick, isn't he? Covers the ground really well.
Great player, Xavier Lindsay. Round 7 Rising Star nom. Pick 11 after winning the Morrish Medal last year. Goes back to McVie, who goes back to Lindsay.
He hasn't been able to talk this week, Xavier Lindsay.
Why is that?
Caught one right in the larynx last week in that contest against Brisbane.
Been a vow of silence for him.
Been an increase in larynx injuries lately as the D's kick up to half forward, but Sydney are there. Sweeping handball from Roberts. Rowbottom bundled off the footy. Ball hits the deck and we'll get a ball up close to the boundary line. High half forward for Melbourne.
It's amazing how many tests he had to go through, Xavier Lindsay, to check if there was a crack in his voice box and all sorts of different things. So Glad that he's out there. Glad that he's all healthy.
Rick Disnick had to do the same thing many years ago.
Gawn and Grundy in a tangle. It comes off the hands of Clayton Oliver as he scraps for it with Chad Warner, and the ball goes out of play for a boundary throw in.
So Tom de Koning had one recently.
Yep, Stephen May
and Max Gawn.
Yep.
What's going on down at Melbourne as well?
It's a good question.
Very, very good question.
Demons by 6 points. Early stages here at the MCG as Gawn wins down the tap, trying to get it to Fritsch. Corey Warner got a hand pass away to Sheldrick, who kicks up towards the wing. Heaney can't take the mark. Melbourne have the numbers. Rivers puts his head over the footies. Tackled by Campbell. Umpire waves play on as it spills out to Oliver. The Demons take it back. Gets the hand pass to Lindsay. He looks up towards half forward. Melcham on a long lead. Reaching over. Rampy makes the spoil. And a throw in at left half forward. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. It's the Demons by 6 points.
Matt Clinch, Ben Cameron, Adam Ramanauskas, Bob Murphy and Lauren Borden. Here's Sunday afternoon. Umpire unfurls. Going to the front, slaps it back boundary side. Maybe a bit of Grundy hand in there as well, and we'll do it again. Umpires Dalglish, Fleer, Ribashini and Jones in charge of this one.
It looks like Rowbottom has the job on Petrarca, but I'm just watching Isaac Heaney, so Trent Rivers has had to come up to this stoppage with him at the moment.
Melbourne with the opening score of the game, a goal. Neither ruck decisive. Heaney coughs it up with the handball. McVie snaps it inside 50 for the D's. Going back, Roberts brings it to ground. Onto it quickly, Sparrow gets it out. The quick snap on goal from Langford. Off target, through for a minor score. Melbourne 1-1-7. Sydney yet to score. We've played 6 minutes and change opening term.
And then you've got Chad Warner playing as Sydney's deepest forward at the moment. He's got Daniel Turner as an opponent.
Yeah, you'd imagine Chad Warner would like that matchup. Yeah. As Blakey brings Sydney out of defence, kicks up towards Heaney, who rises and takes the mark at right half back. He immediately turns inboard and finds Cal Mills. It's good to see the Sydney captain back. Switches across half back and finds Lloyd. He tries to work it into space with a dink kick out in front of Roberts. He runs onto it at left half forward, has Warner on the lead and he marks on his chest. He's at left half forward outside 50 though, as he wants to just poke it over the top, be in the direction of Campbell, screwed in against the boundary line, and a delicate little shove from McVie sees him out of play. A throw in the left forward pocket. Melbourne by 6 points. 7 minutes gone. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
This is where Heaney's got to get on the move with Turner.
Gawn and Grundy go for a waltz. Grundy laying it down. Mills coming through. Back in the side today. Handball away to Hayward. His handball errant. Picked off by Bowie. He kicks beyond the defensive 50. Looking for Petty. Gets a hand on it. And knocks it out of play. Throwing coming.
So the interesting part there is that Warner and Turner matchup. Does he want the space of isolation inside forward 50, or is he prepared to bring him up to the ground around contest and then burst away from there?
Can he find the balance to do both? Yeah.
Both of these teams 4 and 6 on the season. Grundy slapping it down straight to Rowbottom. Nowhere to go. Bracketed in a tackle by a couple of Ds. We've got another ball up. Half forward here for Sydney.
James Jordan's alongside Jake Bowie for the moment as Grundy wins down the tap for Sydney, but it's sharked by Langford, kicks up the wing for Melbourne, finds Petty who marks on his chest, centre wing on the member side, cuts around McCartan, looking for Petrarca in the left forward pocket, it clears his fingertips, just couldn't take the mark. Fritsch tries to run onto it, Roberts desperate, grab at the back of the jumper, Fritsch is tackled and brought down in the end as Wicks wraps him up just 15 metres out from the Melbourne goal. For half a moment they looked out and certain to score.
Umpire just organising the players at the moment. Eventually puts it aloft. Grundy slaps it back boundary side. Petrarca leaves it behind. Melcham's onto it. There's a whistle on the play. High free kick. It will go to Jake Melcham. Deep in the right forward pocket. Mark said 5 metres in from the boundary line, about 15 metres out. Was it there, gents?
Well, just waiting on the replay. So, because there's a lot of Melbourne supporters in that forward pocket and there wasn't much noise, so you may suggest it wasn't.
Not a lot of remonstration from the...
No.
Not that that's an absolute, but it's something.
Left foot snap. It's low, it's on target, but it's swatted through by Blakey on the line. Didn't quite get the elevation and purchase he needed on the snap.
It was an unenthusiastic attempt for the left foot there, Jake Melcham. He might be a right foot banana man, I think.
1-1-7 plays, no score, 9 minutes 23 played in this opening term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Nick Blakey with that raking left foot straight through the middle of the ground. May couldn't take the mark. It comes down to the front. Mills with a hand pass to Haywood. Kicks out to the wing. It's over the head of Corey Warner. Races after it. One way, then the other. Sold a bit of candy around Lindsay and gets the hand pass back. Works it to Jordan, who works it to Florent. Nice sidestep around Bailey Fritsch as the Swans try to find the overreach. Their hand pass looking back for Jordan. He's tackled by Bowie and taken over the boundary line for a throw-in. And Demons fans enjoy that in the sunshine on the Shane Warne stand side. It's the Demons who lead by 7 points. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
A little Melbourne chant rumbling around the MCG. Going to the front, takes it out of the ruck, whistle on the play again. The umpire wants them to spin it in again. An insufficient boundary throw-in. Didn't go the 18 metres in, Remmer.
Well, don't get Bob started on this. Bob's new to you, Betty Cameron, so let's take it a theory in a moment, Bob.
Okay, I need some background here.
Gawn slaps it down, but it's not coming out of the congestion. We'll get a ball up.
So I've worked with Benny now consistently for the last couple of years, and he had a theory that the ball needs to go 18 metres in the air and 18 metres in length in a boundary throw-in.
It's only 18 in, Ireland.
No.
18 metres in the air?
Yeah, it's way too high.
Oh, lordy lord.
Melbourne lead it by 7 points. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
So I'm always on the lookout when the throw-in comes.
They haven't quite reached any lofty heights as yet as Florent takes the mark at right half-back. Demons leading by 7 points as he turns and comes inboard to Callum Mills, who's been involved early. Through the middle of the ground, he finds Haywood. He marks in front of Salem at the edge of the centre square. Thought about the hand pass to Wicks and now pushes back behind his mark. As Roberts free on the broadcast side. It's wider than that, out towards Lloyd. Had to wait underneath it. Great work by Sparrow. Got back and got a fist in there to see it out of play for a boundary throw-in. Left half forward for the Sydney Swans. It's the Demons 1-1-7, leading Sydney yet to score. Matt Lynch and Ben Cameron calling the action. Bob Murphy and Adam Romanascus, your experts. Lauren Borden's down on the boundary. At the Adelaide Oval, it's the Crows who lead the Eagles by 55 points in the final term there. Grundy in front of Gawn, comes down to the front. Heaney trying to rip it clear with Rowbottom stuck on the bottom of the pack, and Sparrow and Langdon in between those two.
We did talk about pre-game around one of the measures of gut running and appetite to defend is the uncontested marks, and the Sparrow spoil, that speaks to a bigger story that the Demons are up for the fight today.
An early arm wrestle in this game, ball pinballing around. Rivers tries to get a kick away, it dribbles 2 metres. Heaney picks it up, half forward for Sydney, away to Haywood, kicks inside 50. Salem intercept defensive mark, 40 out from his defensive goal. As he kicks into the middle of the ground for Chandler. He looks quickly out to the wing. Fritsch in a one-on-one with Florent. Drops the mark, recovers the better. Looks inside 50, trying to get it to Petrarca. Blakey slithers across in front, punches it out. And a throw-in coming 48 around from the attacking goal for the D's.
He looks dangerous, Fritsch. Spoken about him a little bit already. It hasn't hurt the Swans just yet. Another opportunity there where he could have made a little bit more of it. But he looks like he's playing with some hunger and competitiveness again.
Alongside Nick Blake as it's thrown back in. Ladham's in front position, wins down the tap. But Petrarca for Melbourne. Hand pass out to Langdon. Around his body towards the teeth of goal. In front, Sparrow couldn't complete the chest mark. It spills out the way of Lloyd. He's tackled and brought down by Chandler. And a ball up in the left forward pocket at the city end for the Demons. Crowd has built throughout the afternoon.
So Wicks has gone to Cozzy Pickett here.
As it's thrown up, Ladham's trying to knock it away. Here's a chance for the Demons through Johnson. Can't knock it clear, and the numbers dive on top, including...
Tough assignment in footy to man up on Cozzy Pickett, and Sam Wicks is the man with the job at the moment.
I thought it was Ladham's, but it was Rampy who was just positioning himself over the pack. Cozzy Pickett was on the move from this stoppage, spills out to Florent. He's tackled by Pickett, and the umpire will ball it up once more. Still in the left forward pocket for the Demons. They lead by 7 points.
Up it goes, Latham slaps it boundary side onto it, Oliver knocks it down to Petrarca, trying to get some space to snap on goal, has to get rid of it to Melksham, out to Chandler, smothered there by Rowbottom, goes in after the footy as well, just gets a handball away. They're under the pump here, the Swans. Wicks with a quick kick, it's going to come back, ball up. A quick whistle the umpires are going with now to try and avoid the dumping motion into the ground from the players.
Johnson and Ladhams, it spills out. Tried to knock forward by Clayton Oliver, who got it in the path of Harrison Petty, but he's locked up by Rowbottom and Florent, and we'll do it once more. So Melbourne have it locked inside. They're attacking 50 for the moment. As it's thrown up, Laddams wins down the tap, looking for Blakey. Wore the tackle, hand pass straight to Petty though, Melbourne. Hand pass to Langdon, and his tackle by Jordan. Ball spills clear. Sheldrick for the Swans, tries to kick out to a vacant half-forward line. The foot race is on. A bouncing ball in which McLean can't gather. Turner missed it as well. Turner has a second go, breaks out of a Hamling tackle. Got it to Oliver. Hand pass to Salem, look away, hand pass to Langdon. At half-forward, he gets the hand pass to Fritsch against the boundary line. It opens up for him. He fires on goal and misses to the left-hand side. So 2 shots on goal for Bailey Fritsch early, 1 behind and 1 out on the full. It's Nam who lead by 8 points.
There are a few men on in the corridor there.
No doubt. Look, I get it. Bailey Fritsch is trying to get himself back in form, but that's not the way to do it. Not trying to kick a left foot goal from the left boundary line, left pocket. Square the ball up.
Roberts with the kick in. McLean 2 hands to it, paid the mark. On halfback, gives it off towards Wicks, tries to fashion a kick, it's knocked down. D's back in possession. Chandler chisels a kick into the pocket. Pickett, he marks deep in the left forward pocket. 5 metres in, 25 metres out.
Plays
and
on.
he'll play on, he'll veer out and snap the goal. Yes! Cozzy in the Pickett designed by his dad. In the jumper designed by his dad. He's made in the image of his dad. There's no doubting that. 2-2-14 plays no score through the opening quarter hour in this first term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Well, Bob, I think it's fair to say the game needed a goal just to break it up a little bit, because it's been sort of stuck in Melbourne's forward line. Sydney's pressure's been reasonably good where they've been able to hold the ball, not allow Melbourne to get it out into that open space inside in their forward 50. That's just a simple turnover, though, but coming out of your own defensive 50, Melbourne are lining up there. It's a terrific kick by Chandler. Just speared. Cozzy Pickett there in the pocket.
Don't tell me footy doesn't have karma. Sam Wicks is Cozzy Pickett's direct opponent. He was the one that goes for something that just wasn't quite there. A bit too tricky, outside of his boot, turnover, and his man finds the ball, and Cozzy doesn't miss those.
The Demons with the opening 2 goals of the match. Back in the middle of the ground, Gorn wins down the tap against Laddams, but Chad Warner gets the hand pass to Heaney. Links up with Roberts from half back. Kicks up towards McLean. Spoiled away by Lever. Front and centre is Jordan for the Swans. Hand pass away to Campbell. Inboard to Mills. Back to Jordan at left half forward. Chandler providing good pressure. He scurries away and wins the ball for Melbourne. Hand pass to Bowie. Over the top to Windsor and now to Langdon. A bit more space as he gets it out to Clayton Oliver. Melbourne's confidence rising and kicks up towards Melcham, who tried to get a run at it, but in the end Blakey takes a good mark for the Swans between wing and half-back. The Demons leading by 14 points.
So just on that jumper, Kevin Cropinieri, the proud Narinjari artist, comedian and sculptor, the father of Cozzy Pickett, designing the jumper that Melbourne or Nam are wearing today. Plenty of storylines in that jumper. Sydney up to half forward. Chad Warner steps his opponent, pokes it inside 50. Unable to mark Heaney, shovels out a handball. Now Corey Warner steps around a man, snaps it to full forward, and Laddams at full forward marks.
Yeah, well done. So he came on to obviously relieve Brodie Grundy. Max was right there with him, but Laddams just got the step on him, Bob. 2 little steps ahead of him, and it was a scrubby kick coming forward.
It was a skinny snap in, wasn't it? But, it pays to be in front sometimes. The last time I saw Laddams have a set shot, now, fair play, it was...
Careful.
It was a while ago. He'd almost missed his boot.
Came back into the side last week.
That's better.
Puts his laces through it this time and through the major opening. Sydney's first. Can it kick them into gear? 2-2-14 plays 1 straight 6. Melbourne leads Sydney. 18 and a half minutes into the opening stanza. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Well, they're getting enough ball, Sydney, but it feels like they're just having to defend everything at the moment. So, they're able to get the little centre clearance there and work the ball out from there. But it was really the touch of Chad Warner and then the follow-up of Isaac Heaney in that little contest. Warner went short to Heaney inside forward 50. Heaney wasn't able to take the mark, but he was back onto it. And then, as Bob said, a little skinny kick going forward by Corey Warner. And Laddams just had the jump on Grundy.
It felt like the Swans needed that. A settler here at the MCG. 19 minutes gone. Narm's lead is cut back to 8 points. Grundy back into the middle, up against Gawn here. It spills out the way of Oliver. Went in hard against Heaney. Ball spills clear. Chad Warner couldn't take it cleanly. Rivers thought he was held when not in possession. And the umpire circles and will ball it up with he and James Jordan on the very bottom of the pack. So Joel Hamling is alongside Stephen May at full forward. Do you imagine he's playing a traditional full forward role, or would that be
he has been playing forward, Hamling, so
keep an eye on.
I think it should be a more defensive role, though.
Jake Lever, of course, returning for Narm this afternoon. Gawn wins down the tap. Oliver tried to get a little toe poke forward, but only as far as Chad Warner, who kicks up towards Campbell at half forward. Salem was in front. He controls the mark. Initially went to spoil like a good defender and then realised, hang on, I've got a mark here.
Salem kicks inside, attacking 50, getting back Bice. He jumps in and takes the mark. Free kick. It's going to the D's. And I think Melksham will be the recipient. Mark set about 40 metres out, slightest of angles to the right.
Oh. Not for me.
No.
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 Not even close, actually.
No, he's unlucky there, Blakey.
He's been dudded.
So
good,
perhaps
good
a little bit of a
gift.
gift.
That the umpires are thinking around that, the safety of players being pushed into contest, but that wasn't it.
Melksham boot the ball from 48, keeps it low, puts it through. It's a gift, and Jake Melksham unwraps it. Melbourne by 14 points, 3-2-20 plays one straight 6, 21 minutes into the opening term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Yeah, and you do, Bob. We remember the safety aspect of players being pushed into contest at the moment. Obviously, Jeremy McGovern being
that was
the latest.
The irony there, of course, that was Jake Melksham pushing McGovern into that contest where it was more than a free kick. There was a report. That just wasn't it. That was two players sort of hustling and wrestling in a fair contest, and then a player floats in and takes the mark. That wasn't it. But, that's where the umpires are at the moment. They've got a lot on their minds, and player safety right at the forefront. But a lucky one there for the Demons.
Bob Murphy and Adam Romanascus with you on ABC Sport. Back in the middle of the ground. Gawn wins down the tap against Grundy. Heaney's first onto it. Oliver onto him. He squeezes out a kick straight up in the air in which Gawn whacks it forward. Warner, that's Chad going one way. Roberts the other. In the end, it ricochets off the 2. And Callum Mills has it locked to his chest. Tackled by Petrarca.
I'm sort of watching what Oliver's doing. So he's going to Chad Warner.
Tap comes down the way of Roberts. Couldn't get a clearance to clear the congestion. Oliver gets a hand pass back to Chandler for Melbourne. Almost run down by Corey Warner. In the end, they effect the turnover. Rowbottom for the Sydney Swans. Kicks into the middle of the ground. Awkward bouncing ball for Lever. The reinforcements come as McLean is tackled by May. It spills out. Hand pass, a shocker for the Demons as Mills gets the hand pass away. Hayward, in fact, it's Campbell who kicks to the pocket. It's over the head of Laddams. And Turner takes the mark for the Demons. He went through the goals after he took the mark through the behinds.
Yep.
Jake Lever thought he was Greg Williams for a moment there. I'm not sure.
Just a message coming through on our SMS from our listeners in Melbourne. Shoppers have alerted us to an incident at Northland Shopping Centre in Preston this afternoon. The shopping centre was in lockdown with reports of teens with a machete in the food court. Shoppers have told the ABC they've just been allowed to leave the centre. We'll keep you updated as more information comes to hand.
Ball up, coming on the wing. 3-2-20 plays 1-1-7. 23 minutes into the opening term. Sydney come away with the football. Heaney quickly tackled. Another ball up coming right alongside the logo on the edge of the centre square. Adam Romanascus, Premiership Don, Bob Murphy, the former Bulldogs captain, Matt Clinch, myself, Ben Cameron, Lauren Borden on the boundary. Right in front of Loz. Langford gathers the footy. Handball away to Sparrow. D's in possession. Oliver, clever little handball. Back to Salem. He kicks around the wing. Petty through his hands it goes. Langdon runs onto it. Quick kick, dribbling along the boundary. Close to the line. Spargo just shoved out of the way by Bice. Ball trickles out. Thrown at the elbow of 50 in the boundary line.
Just a question for you, Ben. You mentioned Adams' 2000 premiership, but not a mere mention of the 2010 pre-season NAB premiership.
Those were big flags back in the day. I liked is that the old knockout cup? Are we still going with that back then?
I reckon was it knockout then, Bob? Was it?
Well, I don't know. I just know that we won it.
It's not a good sign when you can't remember it.
Oh,
one-time night premiership.
0 day, 1 night. If Dermot can run with 5 day, 5 night, fair's fair.
Now, Max Gorner's got a free kick against Brodie Grundy here. He's out to the right. He'll have to kick from right on 50, which the Melbourne captain
he's got the distance.
More than capable.
Yeah. Is this a fake approach? This screams top of the square to me.
Does have the odd set play.
This is fake.
In which Cal Mills is right awake to that. So Gorn goes for home and blazes towards it. Has he got the journey? Ooh. It's touched right on the goal line.
You're on there, Bob.
Swans defenders doing their part and lead by 14 points. Lauren Borton on the boundary.
Taylor Adams is a sub for Cindy. I've just been watching him. He hasn't sat down the whole time. He's been upstanding, walking along the bench, chatting to Dane Rampy. He just won't sit still, so he's so eager to get on the field. And Jake Melksham as well just picked up a pie wrapper that was on the field on his way off. So he's very conscientious and making sure he's cleaning up on the field as he walks off to the bench.
Ends up in the hands of Grundy on the wing. Pokes it over the top for the returning Mills. Back from plantar fascia issue in his foot. Played a half in the VFL last week. 20 disposals, 3 tackles. Kicks into the middle of the ground. Opens it up for the Swans.
They keep opening up that middle of the ground, Sydney. It's happened 3 or 4 times now. They need to close that centre square down.
On to Florent, who moves it on to Roberts, who gets it on to Corey Warner. High half forward, right side of the ground for Sydney. Looks inside the attacking 50 to the pocket. Hayward goes up, nearly comes down with the mark, close to the boundary line. Umpire lets them rumble. Eventually it emerges through Cleary, but picked off there by Oliver. The D's escape. Chandler kicks up to the logo on the wing.
Where the juggling effort couldn't be completed in the end by McCartan, and Melbourne with a chance. Johnson gets a hand pass forward for the Demons, but it's Wicks of Sydney. Hand pass away to Corey Warner. Into the middle of the ground for Sheldrick. Kicks up towards Hayward. Awkward bouncing ball for him. Grundy tries to knock it on, but Gorn comes the other direction. It spills down and Langdon slides in. Over the top of Isaac Heaney, and the umpire will ball it up at right half forward for the Swans. Narm 3-3-21, Sydney 1-1-7. 26 minutes gone, opening term, Sunday footy on ABC Sport. From the stoppage, Grundy wins down the tap and tries to shovel out a hand pass to Heaney. It's chopped off by Turner. Kicks up towards half forward. Spargo couldn't take the mark. Oliver tries to get a hand pass forward, but Chad Warner chops that off for Sydney. Hand pass back to Rampy, who kicks a hurried ball up towards Hamling. Awkward bouncing ball as Stephen May's in chase. It spills out the way of Turner. He's tackled by Hayward and also Cleary, and the umpire will board up 45 metres out from Sydney's goal at the punt road end.
Melbourne by 14 points. 3-3 plays 1-1. Gorn tapping it down onto it though. Heaney, centre half forward here for the Swans. Off to Roberts, chips it to the pocket. Laddams juggling marking. Just protected the drop with a little nudge on Lever. And then grasped it as he tumbled to the MCG turf.
It's a nice bit of forward craft.
And natural forward. Pete Laddams.
Oh, this makes me nervous.
Yeah.
He's going to snap it on the right. His right foot snap is dandy. It's there.
Oh, okay.
3-3-21 plays 2-1-13. Why did you doubt him, Rammer and Bob Murphy? 27 minutes into the first. The D's by 8. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
I'll tell you why we doubted it. It's because we're looking over his left shoulder, and to our eye, it looked like it went through the points. So
maybe a little score review as we make our way back to the middle.
Well, I was unconvinced as well, and the whole setup was a little unconvincing from Laddams, wasn't it?
I doubt him because he's 204 centimetres.
Yep.
And that doesn't work too often for those guys.
I had doubts about everything that just happened there. The setup, the execution, and then the end result. But it was nice off the boot.
Yep.
I can see why he's done it. I think he might have practiced that. You're not going to score review that one because of our scoring system. Much as we want absolutes, the posts just don't go high enough. So sorry, folks. That's a 6-pointer.
Bob Murphy and Adam Romanascus with you on ABC Sport. Grundy wins down the tap to Sheldrick. It might have been legged. Sydney won't take the advantage, although Heaney initially wanted to. It sort of lost its momentum.
What I would like to know, and Ben Cameron may know, is how tall or how high is the goalpost?
Great question. Sheldrick inside 50 in the direction of Hamling. Couldn't take the mark. It spoils down to Lever. Quick kick by Turner towards the boundary line. Should be a chance for Langford. Got it to Sparrow. Had to wear the tackle. Turns it over. Wicks takes it for Sydney. Tries to squeeze the kick to Hayward. It's over his head. Surely taken high. There was Petrarca. He had his set over the footy. And Hayward came front on, trying to apply the pressure. Petrarca in game 200 will take a free kick for Nam in the back pocket. The Demons by 8 points. 29 minutes gone opening term.
Petrarca with the kick up to a contest. Ends up in the hands of McCartan for Sydney. Gets it out to Wicks. He has it bundled out of his hands. Then Rampy set upon. Eventually Langford emerges with the footy. Handball to Melksham. He coughs it up. Sheldrick, Wicks, back to Sheldrick. Sydney with the kick to half forward. Good mark taken down there for the D's though. Disco Turner at centre half back. He gives it off towards Rivers, running through. Long kick inside 50 for the D's. Melksham slips over. Handball away to Petrarca. Zigging, zagging. Gets rid of it to Windsor. Kick smothered. Sydney's defence on. Sock it away. Out towards the boundary line there by Sheldrick. And the D's will get there and pick it up.
Barrow had nowhere to go as he's worked over the boundary line by Campbell. A boundary throw-in not far from where Lauren Borden's watching on.
I just looked it up. A goalpost is 15 metres high at the MCG, so a few more metres needed than that. That's what it says, that the MCG uses 18 metres. No, 15 metres. 15 metres. 18 metres is the boundary throw-in, isn't it? So, yeah, 15 metres high at the goalpost.
That's where my next question was going, Loz.
A chance for the Demons through Jake Bowie, who's bumped off it by Grundy. A chance for Rowbottom. Sydney are working their way into the game. Hand pass to Chad Warner into the middle of the ground. Up went Hayward, couldn't complete the mark. Turner was there, and Lindsay cleans it up for Melbourne. He kicks up towards Petty, one-on-one with McCartan at half forward. McCartan made the spoiler. Now Blakey's tackled in front of the turf by Petty, and the umpire will board up 50 metres out from Nam's goal.
I know this is how wars start, and I'm stepping on Matthew Richardson's territory here, but they say that the higher the posts go, the closer they appear together. It's an optical illusion.
Certainly is. The D's onto the footy. Oliver snaps to full forward. Back there, Wicks, though. He takes the mark bravely at fullback there for Sydney. Sure you can understand, Rammer. I've been known to exaggerate heights in a variety of different ways. Mainly my own.
I was going to say.
178, but play taller. Kick to the pocket.
178.
McCartan with the kick up towards the wing. Finds Corey Water. Back flank. Melbourne by 8 points. 31 minutes and change into this opening term.
Wearing Cuban heels today, Ben. Unusual commentary.
Kick up towards Heaney. Marks on the logo. Gives it to the dash of Chad Warner. He looks into the pocket. Overshoots McLean. Getting back May. Deep in the back pocket. Gets a handball away. Lever comes in. Misses him. Going in low. Jordan, was he taken high? Yes. No. Throw it in, says the umpire.
No, I think he's got the free kick.
He does.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely high.
Yeah, that's a classic high tackle.
Was that
I don't think he is.
Oh, it's a throw-in. Yeah, I saw the boundary umpire make the throw-in signal, Rammer.
Okay.
Let's see the...
apologise, Ben.
Let's see the length on this throw-in.
Get that one on tape, Benny. Thrown back in. Gorn takes front position. The Swans inside their attacking 50. Gorn's hand pass straight to Chad Warner. It ricochets back to Gorn. He clears the defensive 50, but it's out of bounds on the full and will be coming back. The Demons by 8 points. It's 12 inside 50s for Sydney for 3 scoring shots. Meanwhile, Melbourne have had 11 inside 50s for 6 scoring shots. So we get to reach the lofty heights that we hoped this game might get to. As the kick from McCartan up towards the 50. Rivers made the spoil. Awkward bouncing ball in the end for Clayton Oliver, who combined with Judd McVie to get the hand pass away to Lindsay at half back for the D's. Up towards Melksham, who takes the mark. No, not paid at half forward. So he's got a problem. He can't get rid of it. Surely that had to be one or the other. Either the mark or holding the ball. And eventually it was holding the ball, but Bice's free kick won't happen because the quarter time siren has sounded. A couple of players having a chat with the umpire. Harrison Petty is trying to do the work for Jake Melksham in making the case. And the umpires will send them in different directions. Nam leading by 8 points at quarter time. 3-3-21 to the Swans 2-1-13. Goals for the Demons through Gorn, Pickett and Melksham. While for the Swans, their 2 goals have come through Peter Laddams. In the other match taking place at the Adelaide Oval, it's just about full time there with the Crows starting to record a big win over the Eagles. 19-14, 128 to the Eagles. 8-14, 62. So 3 goals, in fact, make that 5 goals to Josh Rochelle. Last time I looked, it was 3. He's going to finish with 5 for the match. 2 to Dawson, Thilthorpe and Pedler alongside Peatling as well for the Crows, while 3 goals to Jake Waterman. And there is a story there with him leaving the field and some concerns around Jake Waterman for the Eagles as well. So we'll keep you across the action at the Adelaide Oval as the full-time siren has just sounded. The Crows big winners by 66 points. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
The ABC Listen app has it all. The British and Irish Lions Tour of Australia, Wimbledon, the World Test Championship, and West Indies versus Australia. Oh, and did I mention we're doing the footy every weekend? ABC Sport on the ABC Listen app. This is the Sir Doug Nicholls round.
On your radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app.
Umpire puts it aloft. Gawn takes it out of the ruck, gets it on the boot, snaps on goal, swings it through. One over his old mate early. First goal of the afternoon. He's back in possession. Chandler chisels a kick into the pocket. Pickett, he marks deep in the left forward pocket.
Plays
and
on.
He'll play on. He'll veer out and snap the goal. Yes! In the jumper designed by his dad. He's made in the image of his dad. Now Corey Warner steps around a man, snaps it to full forward, and Laddams at full forward marks.
Yeah, well done.
The last time I saw Laddams have a set shot, now, fair play, it was...
Careful.
It was a while ago. He'd almost missed his boot.
Came back into the side last week.
That's better.
Puts his laces through it this time and through the major opening. Sydney's first. Can it kick them into gear? Salem kicks inside, attacking 50, getting back Bice. He jumps in and takes the mark. Free kick. It's going to the D's. And I think Melksham will be the recipient.
Not for me. No. Not even close, actually.
No, he's unlucky there, Blakey.
Been dudded.
Melksham boot the ball from 48, keeps it low, puts it through. It's a gift, and Jake Melksham unwraps it. Gawn tapping it down onto it though. Heaney, centre half forward here for the Swans. Off to Roberts, chips it to the pocket. Laddams juggling marking. Just protected the drop with a little nudge on Lever. He's going to snap it on the right. His right foot snap is dandy. It's there. Why did you doubt him, Rammer and Bob Murphy?
Tell you why we doubted it. It's because we're looking over his left shoulder and to our eye it looked like it went through the points.
The 2025 Sir Doug Nicholls round.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Quarter time of the MCG. It's Nam, the Demons, leading by 8 points, 3-3-21 to the Swans 2-1-13. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Some ABC breaking news for our Victorian Melbourne listeners. Police are responding to an incident unfolding at a shopping centre in Melbourne's north. Witnesses say Northland Shopping Centre has been placed in a lockdown after reports of a stabbing. Vision from the scene shows police and ambulances swarming to the centre, and a spokesperson for Ambulance Victoria says it's believed at least one person is being treated for injuries. We'll keep you updated throughout the afternoon, but don't forget abc.net.au/news. We'll have all the breaking news and, of course, ABC News Radio with rolling coverage, but we will keep you across all the events here at the MCG. Matt Clinch and Ben Cameron calling the action. Lauren Borton is down on the boundary. The thoughts of our experts, Adam Ramanaskas and Bob Murphy.
Well, look, it was a scrappy quarter, Bob. I think from both teams. And I always look at kicking efficiency. I think it's a really important stat, the way the game's played at the moment. Efficiency from going from the back half of the ground to the front half is really the way teams are scoring now. Sydney are kicking the ball at 56%, Melbourne are kicking the ball at 59%. So that's about 10% lower than the league average. But in saying that, both teams' pressure is really good. Melbourne were able to lay 32 tackles in that quarter, and the Swans 25. So, yep, okay, kicking efficiency will be down if there's pressure at the source, and I thought both teams did that really well. I thought Sydney actually held up pretty well, considering the ball was living in Melbourne's forward half for a lot of that quarter. I think the main matchup today is the Trent Rivers and Isaac Heaney matchup. Now, can Heaney manipulate that the way he wants to by going up around the football? I think Simon Goodwin has put Trent Rivers to that matchup for that reason, because he doesn't want to then have to hand him over. It's like, okay, Trent, you're going to go with him the whole way. If he slips into the midfield, you go with him. If he comes back forward, you stay with him. So I think it's a good matchup, but can Sydney get some bang for buck with it?
It's a really insightful way to dissect that first quarter, Rama, in terms of the kicking efficiency, because we've got star-studded midfields, but both sides in the forward 50 area, they don't put the absolute fear of God into you. So if we've got scrappy ball use in the middle of the ground, well, this might be a bit of a game of just attrition.
Yeah.
So I wonder which midfielders that can spit forward and have an impact in that forward 50, Petrarca, Heaney, Warner, I wonder if the quality and the cream, if it rises to the top, which one can slip forward and impact the scoreboard.
Clayton Oliver leads away with 11 disposals after that opening quarter and 7 tackles. Second quarter underway. Gawn wins down the tap for Melbourne, but Chad Warner sharks it. Gets a hand pass up towards half forward. Cal Mills was bumped off it and Melbourne take it back. Hand pass comes to Rivers, who links up with Petrarca. Over the top to Cossie Pickett. Draws the opponent. Hand pass to Salem. Kicks off the outside of the boot. He missed Chandler. It was just over his head. Awkward bouncing ball for Corey Warner. Running onto it is Langford. He fires on goal from deep in the left forward pocket.
Yeah, that one
scores a behind to the left.
You want Christian Salem there. Just take the grass in front. He kicks that goal. I get the unselfish piece, but when you got that much grass in front of you, kick the goal.
Melbourne by 9 points.
Blakey with the kick in, swings the handball to Rampy. Rampy will kick up to the wing and Grundy marks. As it just backward of halfway, southern side of the ground. Kicks infield for Roberts. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Melbourne by 9 points.
That's better from Melbourne. That's where Sydney have been able to come back through the centre of the ground and slice them through the square. They were much quicker and onto it than the Melbourne defence.
Short kick away to Lloyd. Lloyd kicks around the southern wing up towards the contest. In front, Laddams. Lots of it. Doesn't quite come down with the mark. Heaney gets involved. Handball pinched by Langdon. Loses it. Spills out to Turner for the D's. Handball to Windsor. D's at halfback. Handball away to Bowie, who moves it on by hand to Fritsch. Slick hands from Lindsay. Now they're away down the wing. Here go the D's through Langdon.
He tries to centre it towards Cossie Pickett. Awkward bouncing ball for him and Rampy. It gets to the very back where Petty gathers. Hand pass looking for Petrarca. He's brought down by Rampy. Ball spills out the way of Chad Warner. Hand pass to Grundy at centre half back. Quick hand pass to Wicks. A spiralling ball towards centre half forward. Laddams tried to work Turner underneath. Spills to the back where May's on it for Melbourne. He loses it though. Hamling's kick is smothered by Bowie. Spills out the way of Turner and he's locked up just inside the 50 for the Sydney Swans. Melbourne Nam leading by 9 points with 2 minutes gone in the second quarter. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Text just about Cossie Pickett's dad Kevin and not being Byron, which is what I said. I did say Kevin is his dad who designed the jumper for the D's. There's Sydney. Work it away towards Heaney. Running snap from the pocket. He swings it through. Isaac Heaney at his damaging best. Right forward pocket, curls it home, and Sydney, they bring it back to a 3-point game. 3-4-22, plays 3-1-19, 2.5 minutes into the second term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Well, that's what he can do, Bob, there. So he's on the move at that contest. So you're looking for his direct opponent where it is. He's up on a wing at the moment, Isaac Heaney. So his direct opponent is actually the young Harvey Langford. So a really good lesson there for Langford, who's having a really good year for the D's. But when you're up against these absolute superstars, you have to have your arm across.
Yeah, I mean, Isaac Heaney's a hit out away from being able to play on every position on the ground. And with their lack of potency forward, without Logan McDonald, without Tom Papley, this is, I think, where Sydney's best options to score are, with these midfielders of that high calibre of being able to push forward and score as Heaney did there. 11
disposals and now a goal as he sits at full forward. Back in the middle of the ground. Gawn wins down the tap for Nam. Got it to Petrarca. Back to Gawn. The hand pass to Bowie. Up towards Johnson at half forward. Roberts courageous. Stood in the danger spot and takes the intercepting mark. He spots Chad Warner all on his own at centre half back. He takes the mark. He sidesteps Cossie Pickett. That's adventurous. Looks up. Kicks towards Jordan. He can't take the mark as Gawn spoils it down. Bowie from Melbourne. Hand pass away to Spargo. Across half back to Lever. Now to Pickett. He chisels a kick along the ground out towards Langford. At left half back. He's tackled by Corey Warner but gets a hand pass away to Cossie Pickett. The Demons up the wing. McCartan works his way to the front and takes the intercepting mark.
Why would Cossie not just keep running and bouncing?
Just keep going. Take the grass.
Oh, McCartan turns it over with the kick into the middle. Langdon gets it back for Nam. That's Melbourne today. Off to Salem. Kicks to half forward. Petrarca. Gain 200. CP5. Kicks a 6-pointer. His heart does beat true. And they'll celebrate with him. A moment on the MCG. Melbourne by 9 points. 4-4-28 plays 3-1-19. 4 minutes into the second. Adam Ramanauskas and Bob Murphy.
Well, it's a bold statement from Christian Petrarca. Isaac Heaney scores one up the other end. Petrarca says, well, I can do that too. And I suppose if they're going to make bold statements, we should too. I don't think Joel Hamling's going to kick a bag today, nor do I think Harrison Petty is going to kick a bag up the other end. I think it's going to be the midfield superstars. Someone from either Sydney or Melbourne, and Petrarca and Heaney have put their hand up. Maybe it's up for one of those sort of players to grab this game and kick goals and kick a number of them in a hurry.
Bob Murphy and Adam Ramanauskas, your experts on ABC Sport. For our listeners throughout Melbourne and Victoria, there is that incident taking place at Northland Shopping Centre. So for some of our listeners, you will break away, but of course coverage available on the ABC Listen app. Just click on the AFL button and we'll be back with us shortly. Clayton Oliver tries to lay the tackle, and in the end, Chad Warner was taken high and will get the free kick at the back edge of the centre square for the Sydney Swans. Risky kick looking for Heaney. Fritsch makes the spoil. Spoils out in the direction of Roberts, who dumped in a tackle by Fritsch. Quick kick forward by Judd McVie for Melbourne. Up towards Johnson. He's trying to gather the loose footy. Can't get a hand pass to Oliver as Heaney takes it back for the Sydney Swans. Hand pass to Chad Warner. To Grundy, almost too slow as he's tackled by Lindsay. Turns it over. Spargo trying to chip it over the top. Petrarca into the pocket. Takes the mark. There wasn't a lot Blakey could do. And Christian Petrarca with a chance to try and make a back-to-back goals for the Demons.
Well, smart. Petrarca realised that his teammates were going to win the ball at that contest. Just slips out the front. You know, Blakey's not Blakey's direct opponent. He didn't notice it. He goes late. And then just good composure. I think it was for Ed Langdon there.
There hasn't been a heap of silk going inside 50, but the energy and competitiveness around the ball is fierce from both teams.
He opens up the angle, curls it across the body and misses to the left-hand side. It's a 10-point lead the Demons' way at the 6-minute mark of the second quarter.
Ollie Florent to bring it back in for Sydney. Ambles to the left-back pocket. Kicks up to a contest, looking for Heaney, who jumps to the footy, doesn't quite complete the mark. Judd McVie wins it for Melbourne. Handball to Gawn. Wide out. Oliver, centering kick. Unable to gather the half volley. Petrarca fends off Heaney. Two Bulls going at it. His centering kick will work out for Sparrow. Those two are very close and a little bit telepathic there. And Sparrow marks 40 out, plumb in front.
Just in this second quarter, I feel like this game is turned into a game of school footy, where the two best players from each school are Christian Petrarca and Isaac Heaney, and the rest of them are sort of spectating, and they're part of it, they're out there, but these two are saying, well, we could actually win the game off our own boot here.
In comes Sparrow. Boot the ball from the arc of 50. The drop punt is pure. Melbourne close again. Or extend their lead, rather. 5-5-35 plays 3-1-19. 8 minutes into this second term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Adam Ramanauskas and Bob Murphy.
It's a 16-point lead the way of the Demons, but we have mentioned there is a developing story taking place at Northland Shopping Centre in Melbourne. Shannon Schubert can join us to bring us the latest. Shannon, thanks so much for your time.
No worries at all.
What has been taking place to your knowledge at Northland?
Yeah, what we know so far, so the situation is unfolding, but what we do know is that this shopping centre, Northland Shopping Centre in Melbourne's north, is in lockdown while police investigate reports of a stabbing. So a Victoria Police spokesperson has told us that they responded to reports of people fighting at Northland Shopping Centre in Preston, and that shopping centre has been locked down while that incident is ongoing. So we've seen pictures of people fleeing the centre, evacuating the centre. We've seen some vision that shows police and ambulances at the shopping centre, and a spokesperson for Ambulance Victoria has said it is believed at least one person is being treated for injuries, but not much more that we know about that one at this stage.
Okay, Shannon, thank you so much for your time. We'll get you to report back to us if you have any further details. Shannon Sherbert joining us there from the ABC Newsroom with the latest from the Northland Shopping Centre here in Melbourne. At the MCG, it's the Demons who lead by 16 points. As we just pause from the events here to try and, as always, bring you any breaking news which is taking place, and Corey Warner has taken over the boundary line for the Sydney Swans.
Melbourne by 16 points, kicked the last 2 goals in the game. As Clinchy mentioned, Matt Clinch, Ben Cameron, Adam Ramanauskas, Bob Murphy and Lauren Borden. Keep you right across anything happening at Northland as we move through. Onto it, Windsor on the wing. Kicks inside, attacking 50 for the D's. Back there, Florent juggles the mark, takes it. He's got it at fullback. Kicks towards centre half-back. Roberts marks. Swings a handball to the run of Bice. Bice kicks up to half-forward for Sydney. McLean takes the mark in front of May. Gives it off to a teammate running by. The kick goes inside 50 from Cleary. And on the end of it, the mark is taken by Hamling.
Well, it goes back to Ollie Florent. So he takes the contested mark inside his defensive 50 and goes straight away in the corridor. Now, once you can start that link-up handball, link-up chain, really, really hard to defend.
Kappa, Lockett, Hall, Franklin,
Hamling. His drop punt is the same result as so many of those names, Bob. Through the middle it goes. And Sydney do bring it back to a 10-point game. 5-5-35 plays 4-1-25. 11 minutes into this second term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
That'd mean a bit to him, jokes aside. Joel Hamling, fourth club, premiership player, premiership hero at the Western Bulldogs, who actually had the unenviable task of manning Lance Franklin on that particular day, has spent his entire career, to the best of my knowledge, until recently, down back, and he's playing a role for the Swans today at full forward, trying to also negate Stephen May. Not the easiest task in the world. Found himself all alone deep forward there as the Swans sliced their way towards him in a nice little finish.
Like we spoke about pre-game, his 100th game, and he was on Brody Grundy's Instagram yesterday, and he said, "What's your advice?" He said, "Keep going, persevere." And I think that's appropriate for Joel Hamling.
An important goal for the Swans after Nam had kicked the last two. Back in the middle of the ground, Chad Warner tried to wrestle the footy away, but the clearance goes the way of Cosy Pickett. He takes a one-handed bounce, kicks up towards Spargo, uses his body to fend off Bice. Hand pass away to Langford, kicks towards the top of the goal square. It won't quite have the purchase, and Roberts going back spoils it into the bottom of the left behind post at the punt road end. It's the Demons Nam leading by 10 points, 5-5-35 to the Swans 4-1-25.
Umpire right hard up against that behind post, brings it back in. Laddams bringing it back boundary side. Wicks is there, paddling to his own advantage. Right there with him, Spargo. Eventually Wicks somehow gets it on the boot. Clear and kick, but a good mark from Windsor. Melbourne back in possession, half-forward flank. Centering kick towards full forward. Contest down there, ball hits the ground. Gathered by Lloyd. He'll get a handball out. Roberts in the back pocket looking for Corey Warner. Can't run it in, throwing coming.
So Nam leading by 10 points. So welcome our listeners from WA and South Australia who have been at the Adelaide Oval to the MCG. It's Nam who lead by 10 points here. 5-5-35 to the Swans 4-1-25. After the Demons led by 8 points at quarter time. Matt Clinch alongside Ben Cameron calling the action. Lauren Borden down on the boundary. Adam Romanascus and Bob Murphy are your experts. As Sam Wicks clears for the Swans out of the defensive 50. Up to the wing, but Turner for Melbourne gathers. Hand pass to McVie. Feeds it forward to Langford. Langdon, who gets it away to Fritsch, centering kick, looking for Salem.
Yeah, this is a problem for Sydney. So all their numbers are pushing back too close to goal at the moment. So that ball comes out. McDonald spills the mark, but it's basically a 5-on-2 in Melbourne's favour. So a handball goes forward, then there's time and space because Sydney's defenders and even mids and wingers have pushed so deep inside Melbourne's forward line. There's a lot of space around that sort of 30 to 45 metre mark at the moment.
Christian Salem hasn't kicked a goal so far this season. Tried to come up with a perfect pass earlier in the match. This time the set shot from just inside 50. He comes in. It's a good effort. It hits the post. Into the right goal post. And Nam lead by 11 points. 14 minutes gone. Second quarter. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Short kick in dangerous. It just gets to a sprawling Mills. Slow to get up as well, and a little bit of a tangle there with Salem. Eventually in the back pocket for Callum Mills, who's had a rough couple of years through injury. Sends his drop punt up to the wing, looking for Hayward May, a big right at the back, nearly comes down with the mark. Getting involved there for the D's, Johnson. They flick it through hands. Bowie, long handball away towards Sparrow. He'll get it back from Lindsay. Steps a man. Squeezes a kick towards the arc. Lands on the lap of Langdon. Off to Windsor. Running shot, shanked. Misses hard, narrow. Out of bounds on the full. Melbourne still by 11 points. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. 5-6-36 plays 4-1-25 quarter hour mark. Second term.
Riley Bice has it inside the defensive 50 for the Swans. He wants to switch out to the Warren wing, where the mark is taken by Lloyd across half-back. Nam leading by 11 points. As Lloyd decides to kick as long as he can around the wing in the direction of McLean. He uses his body against Turner and is able to juggle the mark just inside the boundary line. Centre wing on the outer side. He looks up and has Laddams at centre half forward, but Gawn is waiting a few steps in front of him. So call to play on, there's nothing really on offer, so just has to bang in that direction. Laddams and Grundy are both there, but Max Gawn takes them up, but shepherding. Grundy couldn't get a flight at it, and will get the free kick.
Oh, please. That's Jake Bowie. He's really going to move Brodie Grundy, is he? Come on.
So Brodie Grundy was there with Laddams, but Gawn had set himself well. And a chance for Sydney to try and make it back-to-back goals. Grundy, the former Demon, as he's taking his time with just 5 on the shot clock as he starts his approach out to the left. He'll need to kick every bit of 50 metres. Grundy against the All-Australian Ruckman, his good friend and former teammate Max Gawn. He misses to the left, and in fact he squeezes it in from behind. Not sure there's been any. It is a out on the full, so no change to the score. It's Nam who lead by 11 points. Now, we had Shannon Sherbert giving us an update from the Northland Shopping Centre, a statement just coming through. The police have arrested 2 people following an affray involving around 10 people in Preston this afternoon. Emergency services were called to the Murray Road Shopping Centre just after 2:30 p.m. following reports of opposing groups fighting, some armed with knives. One male was transported to hospital in a serious but stable condition. Police arrested 2 males who are currently being interviewed. The centre was locked down as the incident took place and remain closed while police are investigating. The exact circumstances surrounding the incident are being investigated, but it is believed the incident was targeted and parties are believed to be known to each other. Additionally, investigators are also keen to speak with anyone in the area at the time who may have witnessed the altercation. So anyone who witnessed the incident, has CCTV, dashcam footage or any other information are encouraged to contact police or urged to reach out to Crime Stoppers on 1-800 333 000.
Melbourne by 11 points. Bowie with the long kick into the pocket, looking for a marker down there. Petty Robes off to Pickett. He snaps on goal and cleverly, skillfully bounces it through and celebrates with a dance. All of that balletic grace on display from Keziah Pickett. Melbourne by 17 points. 6-6-42, plays 4-1-25. 17 and a half minutes into the second term. Adam Romanascus and Bob Murphy.
It's a beautiful thing to watch a player like Keziah Pickett on Sir Doug Nicholls' round make the game look so easy, but make no mistake that Cozzy and some of his brothers over a long, long time have made the game look so easy because they've worked so damn hard to get there and to put it on show, and that was a beautiful example. Was it balletic grace?
Yep.
That you went with there, Ben? That is the most perfect description of it. Such a combination of power and finesse in a single player. He could be the most important person on the field today, Cozzy Pickett, with his ability to hit the scoreboard and his ability to move through different parts of the ground. That's him at his absolute best.
So every time the Swans look to close the gap, Nam come up with a way to answer. Back in the middle of the ground, Gawn on cue, back to Pickett, who's looking to take over here. He pulls his kick looking for Chandler, who takes the mark. Just cleared the fingertips of Ed Langdon and Bice, and charging out Kate Chandler was able to hold his position in front and hang on to the mark.
It's poetry out of the centre, really. You got a midfield of Pickett, Petrarca, Oliver, Gawn. You got Maxi putting it on a platter there to Cozzy Pickett.
6 disposals and 2 clearances in this quarter for Cozzy Pickett, not to mention a goal to go alongside his one in the first quarter. And now Kate Chandler looking to finish the work from just inside 50, directly in front. And drifts to the right-hand side as he's looking for the extra millimetre of distance. Nam lead by 18 points. 19 minutes gone. Second quarter. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Matt Roberts to take the kick in. MCG entirely encased in shadows now. The playing surface at least. Roberts with a searching kick in. Turner intercept marks. Melbourne back in possession. 2 kicks from goal. Sets it up to the pocket. Looking deep. In from the side. Petty. Pickett Rose. Swivel snaps goals. Misses. Snaps that goal and misses. That's what I was trying to get out, but he's so quick. He's Cozzy's hard to keep up with. Melbourne by 19 points. 20 minutes played in the second. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
All of a sudden the Demons with 3 goals, 5 so far in this second quarter. To the Swans 2 behinds as Bice brings it back into play. A run and a dash as it takes a bounce to get almost to the defensive 50, and in the end has to chip it out to left half back to Roberts. He goes short to Lloyd, who has it at left half back for the Swans. Now by 19 points.
Footy asks as many questions as it tells us, doesn't it? Right now, with the game going Melbourne's way, the momentum is all Melbourne's way. The score is precariously set. The question now is to the Swans, how much do you want it? How much do you want to hurt to try and shut down the Demons and create scoring opportunities without some stars up there?
Roberts got it back, kicks up the wing, tackle late by Lindsay, holding the ball, will be rewarded. Campbell had nowhere to go, and the Demons are rising to the occasion here. Gets the hand pass away to Langford. He drives Melbourne up towards half forward. It's over the head of Melcham. He thought he was blocked out of it, no whistle. It's gathered by Mills. The Swans skipper on return. His kick is close to the boundary line. It's touched as it goes over. And Lindsay thinks it might have been across there before he got a hand to it, but the umpire says to throw it in. Matt Lynch and Ben Cameron calling the action. Adam Ramanauskas and Bob Murphy, your experts. Lauren Borden down on the boundary.
Both rucks go to ground, and Ray Chamberlain has told us that's usually a cue that the umpires will look for when the ball hits the ground at 52.
Jeez.
Maybe dissent against Brodie Grundy. He's giving it the double teapot. And Max Gorn will be marched to about 15 out slight angle.
Well, clearly something was said. So
I'd love to get a replay.
Yeah, it's
definitely something said. It wasn't a return of the footy along the ground, was it?
Possibly. He's going to be disappointed anyway. Brodie Grundy.
Oh, no, Max.
Max gives it off to Melksham, who snaps on goal from a worse angle and 40 metres out and misses to the left-hand side.
That's craziness.
In a word, yuck.
Brodie Grundy was on the mark, 20 metres out maybe, Benny?
If that, yeah.
So the Demons with 3 goals, 6 in this second quarter. The Swans 2 straight. They are keeping them in it at this stage. Roberts with a clearing kick for the Swans. Up to half-back, where Langford gathers from Melbourne. Hand pass to Sparrow, and he's taken across the boundary line by Ollie Florent.
We did mention earlier on in the day about Paul Roos. We didn't really make the connection, did we, about the Paul Roos Cup? I'm sure over in Hawaii he's watching this game with the 2 clubs that he coached.
Aloha, Paul.
You can catch him on the ABC AFL Daily podcast as from the throw, and it spills out the way of Rivers. Hand pass to Gorn, works it back to Salem, kicks up towards half forward, charging in from the very back of the pack was Melcham, and off hands it goes out of play for a throw in at left half forward. Under the Olympic stand here, where a lot of the MCC Melbourne fans have made their way in this afternoon. It's Nam who lead by 20 points, a chance for the winner to move to 5 wins and 6 losses for the season.
Throw in half forward for the D's, working to the front is Gorn, goes again at ground level. Pickett bursting through, cuts a swathe through them, snaps on the left, floats it through for a goal. No, it's just clipped the post. I wanted it because he's doing it all today, Cozzy Pickett. Melbourne by 21 points.
MV Pickett today.
Yep.
Most valuable man on the ground, Cozzy Pickett.
There is very few who can go with him when he is in this form, as Callum Mills brings Sydney back into play, but his kick is chopped off as Max Gorn takes a towering intercept mark.
Hold my beard trimmer, says
yes,
Max Gorn.
With Pete Laddams in front of him. Gorn looks to turn and come inboard as he centres it to Turner, who marks on the edge of the centre square. At centre half forward, the Demons heading to the punt road end in this second term. Turner once a forward, now a defender. As he kicks out into the pocket, Melcham's the target. Petty in from the side, can't complete the mark. Pickett swooping, he can't run onto it as it's trapped underneath Melcham. And the umpire will ball it up in the right forward pocket for the Demons.
That's now 19 inside 50s to 4 in this quarter. 3-7 Melbourne could have kicked. They probably could have closed the gate on this game in this quarter if they kicked straight.
Gawn takes it out of the ruck. Little give to Pickett. Doesn't gather it cleanly. It spills to Petty. He's tackled quickly. Ball up. 15 out from the attacking goal for the D's.
You could fill the Sydney harbour with that many entries.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense, but you know what I mean.
Gawn slaps it down, row bottom. At fullback for Sydney. Handball to Corey Warner. Closing is Petrarca. Pressures him. The kick not great. Close to the line. Touched out of play. Throwing on the elbow of 50 in the boundary line.
The appetite to defend once the ball leaves the area of Melbourne is 9, 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Sydney's was a 9 or an 8, and it's falling. Right now it's at about a 5 or a 6, and I think that's the difference in the game at the moment. Oh, and Cozzy Pickett.
Yes, and Cozzy as well. Gawn wins down the tap, worked off it, was Lindsay, and a chance for the Swans. Sheldrick's kick is smothered by Bowie. It ricochets into the middle of the ground. Heaney tried to be slick to trying to get it to Corey Warner. It worked. Hand pass to Sheldrick to the run of Hayward, trying to draw an opponent. Hand pass was behind Jordan, and they lose it. The moment's gone. Jordan runs onto it. In fact, it's Bowie who runs onto it from the Jordan sloppy hand pass and gets the hand pass out to Ed Langdon. Kicks out wide to Kay Chandler, who marks centre wing on the Shane Warne stand side. Just a reminder, at half-time we will update you further on the incident that has taken place at Northland Shopping Centre in Melbourne.
Langdon goes right back to fullback, and May Marks virtually got the 50 to himself.
Callum Mills is loose for Sydney, but he's loose right back inside defensive 50, so Melbourne should be able to work this ball up through the midfield with relative ease if they take care of the footy.
May kicks it to Lever, who goes back to May inside the D50. He goes short to Salem, defensive point of the square. Melbourne by 21 points.
Done a pretty good job here to slow them up, Sydney.
Salem goes short to Rivers, right on the centre line, members side of the ground. He pokes it over the top for Salem.
It's a bit easy, isn't it?
Has Langford over the top. The raking left footer, kick to full forward. Petty's down there in a 2-on-1. Mills, that spare defender, punches it away. Cozzy Pickett keeps it in the pocket. Can't break the second tackle after breaking the first. Runs out of room. Only the boundary line can stop him today. A throw-in left forward pocket for the D's.
As the sun starts to set in Melbourne, Nama looking to try and continue their dominance. Grundy wins down the tap for the Swans. Pickett trying to get through traffic. Melcham came charging through but left the ball behind. Grundy shovels out a hand pass to Corey Warner. Kicks into the middle of the ground. Who's there for the Swans? Into space where Stephen May was waiting. Gets the hand pass away to McVee. Looks up towards half forward for Melbourne. Down low it's Roberts who chops off the ball inside 50. Hand pass away to Heaney. Feeds it wide to Bice. His kick is too wide for Jordan. Out of bounds on the full. They'll be coming back as Judd McVee takes the free kick at right half forward for Nam. Call to play on. So looks to try and poke it in the direction of Max Gawn. It's not a bad idea. Over his fingertips. And McCartan as well. Down low Melcham. Was he taken high? Yeah. He was in the right forward pocket. And Jake feels like he's been on the wrong side of a few. So he'll be very happy here. In the right forward pocket, only about 35 metres out from goal.
Let's just kick it straight.
Yes.
But let's.
Oh, he's going.
Not going to do that.
With the left. He was unenthusiastic the first time around, but maybe he's like a good golfer. He's got the line of the putt, but.
The Melbourne veteran has kicked one already this afternoon. He looks to open up the angle, kicks across his body. Melcham misses to the right-hand side. So the Demons have kicked 3 goals, 8 in this second quarter. This game could be over. Swans fans are taking a deep breath. It's a 22-point lead Nam's way in the inside 50s, 22-4.
Mills pokes it to Corey Warner, who, like his brother, re-signed earlier this year. He'll send a kick up to the wing. Contest kick. In front, McLean brings it down in front. Sheldrick, a rolling maul towards the boundary line. Ball upcoming right in front of the interchange gates. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
They are vulnerable, the Swans. They are losing faith at a rapid pace.
Melbourne by 22 points. Campbell comes away with the footy. Handball to Florent. Can they find a goal here? His kick into the middle. Overshoots the target of Lloyd. To the opposite logo. Lloyd wins the 50-50 contest. Gets around Lindsay. Swings a handball. Kick comes from Jordan. Inside 50. Wants a marker. Off hands. Leave it there for the D's. Handball to Windsor. Handball from Oliver. Misses the target. Windsor goes back and gets it. His handball misses Chandler.
A little bit messy there.
Tumbles out. Throwing coming for Sydney 45 around from their attacking goal.
That's a little bit messy, Rama. I hate to see what happens if it gets really messy. It was a dog's breakfast.
Bob Murphy and Adam Ramanauskas, your experts. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Gawn wins down the tap, gets it to Lindsay. The Demons out of defence with a kick up towards Petrarca. In game 200, it's ripped away from him by Rampy. He's tackled, dispossessed, holding the ball. Oliver wanted to take the advantage, but the kick will come back at right half back for Nam. 6-11-47 the Demons to the Swans 4-1-25. Earlier it was a big win for the Crows over the West Coast Eagles by 66 points. Disappointing afternoon for the Eagles, and a badly dislocated shoulder for Jake Waterman as well in the final term for the Eagles, rubbing insult into injury. Bowie has it at right half back and got it from Chandler. He looks around the Shane stand wing, and Gawn is the target. Grundy behind him, spoils it down. Rowbottom through there is locked up by Johnson, and the umpire will ball it up centre of the Shane stand wing.
Melbourne by 22. Gawn again winning the tap. Chandler picks it up off his bootlaces, fires a handball to Lindsay, gets it to Rivers. He dabs a kick, not the 15. Petrarca moves it on quickly to his mate Oliver. A little fumble, then a dump kick inside 50 for the D's. Pickett floating across. He can't get on the end of it. Melbourne by 22 points, 6-11-47. They lead Sydney 4-1-25 at halftime. The goal kickers, Pickett with 2, Sparrow, Melksham, Gawn and Petrarca in game 250 with 1. Laddams with 2, Hamling and Heaney with singles for Sydney.
A quick thought from Adam Ramanauskas and Bob Murphy before we bring you the latest from Northland Shopping Centre.
Well, I think the reality of that half is Sydney can consider themselves lucky that it's only 22 points to margin. So you look at that quarter alone, 23 inside 50s, 3 goals, 8 bobs. So they've had 11 scoring shots. You know, the gate could have been closed almost on this game. Now what Sydney do, they go and reassess. Really, you know, go and reassess. What are we doing wrong? What are Melbourne doing so well? Clearly they can't keep up with Cozzy Pickett at the moment. He's been really, really dominant. But 22 points is, I think, a margin that Melbourne will be disappointed with, Bob.
If Melksham kicks that last goal, it's all over.
All over.
Sydney don't have enough supply with the lineup they have forward. So if Melbourne keep playing like that and they keep creating opportunities, this will be a blowout.
Nam with 3 goals, 8 in that second quarter to the Swans 2 straight. It's the Demons who lead by 22 points at half-time. We've been keeping you updated about a unfolding incident that's taken place at Northland Shopping Centre in Melbourne's north. Harvey Biggs can join us from the ABC newsroom to bring us the latest. Harvey, thank you.
Good afternoon, guys. Yeah, I'm standing outside of Northland Shopping Centre now. There are dozens of police cars here. The shopping centre is, in fact, still in lockdown. It's now a couple of hours since this incident began unfolding. I've spoken to a number of witnesses, people who are just going for a shop today and those working here today. They say that there was a fight between 2 groups at around 2:30 this afternoon. I believe there may have been knives or even a machete involved, and that at least one person has been seriously injured and taken to hospital. A number of people rushed into shops and barricaded themselves in, and I spoke to a number of workers who said they locked up their doors and held everyone in place until it was safe to come out. So police did evacuate the shopping centre in the last hour or so. But this is still very much an unfolding situation. We're still waiting for an update from police. They're going to speak in about 15 minutes. We'll get more information. But at the moment, I can tell you that one person, we believe, is in hospital with serious injuries.
All right, Harvey, thank you so much for your time. Harvey Biggs joining us there from ABC News from the Northland Shopping Centre in Melbourne's north. And, of course, we'll keep you across any unfolding details as they come to hand from the MCG. It's Nam the Demons who lead by 22 points, 6-11-47 to the Swans 4-1-25. 3 goals, 8 in that second quarter, the way of Nam to the Swans 2 straight. Earlier, the Crows defeated the West Coast Eagles by 66 points, 19-14, 128 to the Eagles, 8-14, 62. Josh Rochelle booted 5 goals for the winners, 2 goals to Dawson, Thilthorpe, Pedler and Peatling, while for the Eagles, 3 goals to Jake Waterman, but unfortunately that dislocated shoulder taking place in the final term. We'll pause for the moment from the MCG and bring you the latest from the ABC newsroom.
ABC News, I'm Thanmaya Navada. Victorian police are responding to an incident unfolding at a shopping centre in Melbourne's north. Witnesses say Northland Shopping Centre has been placed into lockdown after reports of a stabbing. Vision from the scene shows police and ambulances at the shopping centre. A spokesperson for Ambulance Victoria says it's believed at least one person is being treated for injuries. Meanwhile, Victoria's police union says officers are increasingly being confronted by violent and armed offenders following an arrest-turned-fatal shooting that seriously injured a police officer in Melbourne overnight. Police say a woman drove a four-wheel drive at two officers, pinning one against a wall as they were arresting a man allegedly armed with a machete. The officer fired his weapon, killing the 36-year-old female driver and injuring her 26-year-old male passenger. Police Association of Victoria Secretary Wayne Gatt says violent crime is a statewide issue.
This is what our members are dealing with. On regular occasion, our members are confronted by people in vehicles like this, and it can be not only life-altering, but it can end your life.
The New South Wales Reconstruction Authority says there are more than 70 strike teams helping flood-affected residents with the clean-up on the state's mid-north coast. More than 100 warnings remain in place, with 4 emergency flood warnings still for the north shore of Port Macquarie, Telegraph Point, Oxley Island, Mitchell's Island and Manning Point. Reconstruction Authority CEO Mal Lanyon says personal hardship payments are not yet ready to be applied for, but recovery hubs are being set up.
The Reconstruction Authority is currently establishing recovery assistance points. They will be established in Taree, Maxville, Kempsey and Port Macquarie, with Taree starting on Tuesday and the rest of the centres starting on Wednesday. They're effectively a one-stop shop where community members can come in to get support.
A number of flood-affected residents are also still waiting for power to come back on. Port Macquarie resident Alex Burke, who's waiting for electricity to be reconnected so he can spray off the sludge left behind, says this is the 4th flood he's been through.
It's just losing things, basically, you know. I lost 2 cars now, I think. The Commodore went underwater. They wouldn't move it for me. Hopefully Monday you get a little bit more help, you know. Everything's double harder, you know. Just got to do everything extra.
Overseas, Russian forces have again attacked Kyiv and other Ukrainian cities, injuring at least 11 people in the capital and killing 3 in towns around it. Ukrainian officials say many residents sheltered in Kyiv's underground metro, bringing chairs, blankets and sleeping bags. It's the second massive aerial attack Russia has launched in a row and comes amid ongoing exchanges of prisoners held by both sides during the war that began with Russia's invasion 3 years ago. US President Donald Trump has addressed this year's graduates at America's elite military academy after he rolled back diversity, equity and inclusion programs in the force. The BBC's Jake Kwan reports.
What we saw today, it really reveals Mr. Trump's relationship to the military, where he sees his mission as making the military strong again by purging the military of these diversity, DEI, woke ideology. As soon as he was in the office in January, he signed an executive order within days, which purged the military of any transgender people and shut down any social clubs that were based on the racial identity or gender identity.
Back home, an echidna found washed up on a rock wall at Golden Beach in Caloundra yesterday is now recovering at Australia's Zoo Wildlife Hospital. Janelle Shorthouse has more.
Wildlife rescuers say the echidna may have swept off Bribie Island and into the passage. Tides and erosion are shrinking the habitat on the isolated tip, which is now cut off from the mainland after a breakthrough during ex-tropical cyclone Alfred. The echidna was found floating on its back, showing signs of dehydration, saltwater exposure and possible fluid in the lungs. Dr Kate Dutton-Register from the University of Queensland says echidnas are capable swimmers.
They've got that elongated beak and they could raise that and use that as a sort of a snorkel.
She says the symptoms are consistent with time in salt water, though it's unclear if the animal is the echidna known locally as Eddie.
And the world's first robot fighting competition will get underway later today in China and is being live-streamed globally. The participating humanoid robots not only master fighting skills such as straight punches, hooks and side kicks, but can also stand up quickly after falling to the ground. And you are all up to date with the very latest on ABC News. For more news at any time, you can download the ABC Listen app or head to the ABC Listen website.
Any plans that survived were destroyed. They were burned to cover up the story.
Join me, Mark Fennell, as I discover some of history's craziest turning points in my brand new podcast, No One Saw It Coming, on the ABC Listen app.
This is the Sir Doug Nicholls Round.
On your radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app.
Here's Sydney. Work it away towards Heaney. Running snap from the pocket. He swings it through. Isaac Heaney at his damaging best. Langdon gets it back for Nam. That's Melbourne today. Off to Salem. Kicks to half forward. Petrarca. Game 200. CP5. Kicks a 6-pointer. His heart does beat true. And they'll celebrate with him. A moment on the MCG.
Well, it's a bold statement from Christian Petrarca. Isaac Heaney scores one up the other end. Petrarca says, well, I can do that too.
Unable to gather the half volley. Petrarca fends off Heaney. Two Bulls going at it. His centering kick will work out for Sparrow. Those two are very close and a little bit telepathic there. In comes Sparrow. Boot the ball from the arc of 50. The drop punt is pure. Melbourne close again. Gives it off to a teammate running by. The kick goes inside 50 from Cleary. And on the end of it, the mark is taken by Hamling.
Kappa, Lockett, Hall, Franklin.
Hamling. His drop punt is the same result as so many of those names, Bob. Through the middle it goes. Melbourne by 11 points. Bowie with the long kick into the pocket, looking for a marker down there. Pettyroves off to Pickett. He snaps on goal and cleverly, skillfully bounces it through and celebrates with the dance. All of that balletic grace on display from Keziah Pickett.
The 2025 Sir Doug Nicholls Round.
On your radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and on the ABC Listen app.
Half-time at the MCG, and it's now Melbourne who lead by 22 points, 6-11-47 to the Swans, 4-1-25. In that quarter, Nam had 3 goals, 8 to the Swans, 2 goals straight. They dominated the inside 50s, 23-5. So the Swans very much happy to still be in this contest at half-time, because had the Demons kicked truly, it could have been just about all but over. Cozzy Pickett has been the star from a Melbourne point of view. He has threatened to light up this game for Demons fans. He kicked 2 goals so far in the match, but could have done so much more damage. Peter Laddams has 2 goals for the Sydney Swans. Matt Klitsch and Ben Cameron calling the action. Lauren Borden is down on the boundary. Adam Ramanauskas and Bob Murphy are your experts on ABC Sport. And just repeating that breaking news from Melbourne around Northland Shopping Centre. Police have arrested 2 people following an affray involving around 10 people in Preston this afternoon. Emergency services were called to the Murray Road Shopping Centre just after 2:30 p.m. following reports of opposing groups fighting, some armed with knives. 1 male was transported to hospital in a serious but stable condition. Police arrested 2 males who are currently being interviewed. The centre was locked down as the incident took place and remains closed while police investigate. The exact circumstances surrounding the incident are being investigated, but it is believed the incident was targeted and parties are believed to be known to each other. Our Melbourne and Victorian listeners might break away at some stage, so of course the ABC Listen app has you covered. Just click on the AFL button, and as any game throughout the afternoon, if you're looking for the coverage of this afternoon's game involving Euro Oaks, St Kilda and the Gold Coast Suns, there is a call available on the ABC Extra button. You can catch all the podcasts throughout the week, the ABC Cricket Podcast, the ABC AFL Daily Podcast, in which Ben and Corbin will feature with Paul Roos tomorrow, Poppy Penny during the week as well. It is all available for you there on the ABC Listen app. So that match has got underway under the roof of Docklands. We'll take you there at the completion of our match this afternoon. It's the Suns 1 straight 6 to St Kilda yet to score. Earlier it was the Adelaide Crows who prevailed by 66 points over the Eagles, in which Josh Rochelle booted 5 goals, and Jake Waterman unfortunately suffered a dislocated shoulder in the final term for the Eagles. Adam Ramanauskas and Bob Murphy, your experts. So Dean Cox would be addressing his troops at halftime saying, well, we're still here for now, but they're going to need a much better effort in this second half.
Oh, they're going to a hell of a lot better effort in this second half. What I found with Sydney in that quarter is, yeah, they'll try. Look, they had to defend. Like they're under siege, their defenders, 23 inside 50s. But what I did notice is a lot of their defenders or players that are pushed into their defensive 50 were sitting on their heels. So what I mean when I say they're sitting on their heels, so ball comes in and Melbourne's first to react. And when you're first to react, then that sets up your offence. So if Sydney are first to react, get the ball, and are able to clear it. So on one occasion they do. Ollie Florent takes an intercept mark in a contested situation. Then he's straight down the middle of the ground to, I think it was Riley Bice, who's over to Hayden McLean, who's then inside forward 50 for a goal. So I want to see Melbourne's defenders react quicker in this second half. Take the front spot. Take the advantage there. Try to get some flow in the game going, because once they were clearing it from their defensive 50, Melbourne had numbers sitting back. So Max Gorn was sitting back, Tom McDonald was sitting back, Daniel Turner was sitting back. One of the wingers in Langford or Lindsay was sitting back. So really was sort of like old school local footy, Bob, where you see your ruckman just sitting out, build the wall, guys, build the wall, and then the ball would go back inside forward 50. Bob's mentioned Pickett a number of times in that second quarter. He was outstanding. Just his energy, I think, is when he hits the ball, it's at full speed. It's at top speed, and he's so clean. Melbourne, did they kick themselves out of the game in that, or out of an easier second half? Maybe. So if I'm Dean Cox, I'm basically saying, look, guys, let's put that half behind us. 22-point margin is not much in football. We know how quickly margins can be overturned in modern football.
That's where my sentiment is. Like, there's 22 points in a game of AFL footy at halftime.
It's not much.
It's not enough to make bold calls. But watching the last 10 minutes of that second quarter, Jake Melksham kicks that goal, I would have called it. So they're done. This is season on the line sort of stuff for both clubs potentially. But the way that first half played, I feel like Melbourne they want this season. They're hungry to stay in this season. I'm not so sure about Sydney. I really am not so sure. And I wonder at halftime, if Dean Cox was ever going to use the fire and brimstone and use the stick, don't worry about the carrot, of just to get something, some emotion, some physicality. He's a big man. He's got physical presence as a coach. I would think this is the perfect time to put it on the leaders, to put it on all those players around the ball. Find someone to bring something to this game, to bring some life into it. Because if we don't see anything in the first 5 or 10 minutes from Sydney in terms of aggression or appetite to defend and create opportunities, this will be over really quickly, and it could get really ugly, because I feel like Melbourne are all in.
You missed earlier on in the day, Rama, while you were busy being Coach K and coaching some... it was junior football, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I thought it was basketball, so less so Coach K. But Bob drawing beautiful parallels between...
He can coach anything, Rama.
Yeah, Phil Jackson, whatever, whichever way you want to go. Pat Riley.
Yeah. He's got a beautiful slick
the hair back.
That's less you than
maybe
the others, perhaps.
We might need to upgrade the wardrobe if it's Pat Riley.
Correct. But okay. Very cool dude. But Bob drew a beautiful comparison between country music and Sydney being the broken-hearted and potentially coming back. And I'm just going to go a little rogue here and call an audible. If it does get ugly, we've been speaking about me name-dropping people named Paul. Paul Kelly, Paul Roos.
Yeah,
maybe we could throw it open.
Rama, just if you're catching up, Ben's on very, very good terms with Paul Roos. He's at pains to tell us.
I didn't realise we weren't allowed to use the names of our on-air colleagues, but so be it. But my talkback topic could be your favourite AFL, VFL footballer named Paul. There's plenty of good ones.
Okay.
If we get a little
there was an
stuck
absolute superstar that played for the Sydney Swans, whose
That's what
first
I'm
name was
thinking of.
Paul.
Yep.
Paul Kelly,
Not
obviously.
the folk singer, the footballer.
The footballer, Brownlow medalist, and he was an all-time favourite of mine.
Greatest arms in the history of the game, Paul Kelly.
Yep. Just on the jumpers as well, I think some people, I think there was a texter who thought I might have suggested that Byron was Cozzy's Pickett. That's not what I meant. I said Kevin, who is a proud Wiradjuri artist, comedian and sculptor who did design this jumper for Melbourne. He is the father of Cozzy Pickett, has the shield on the jumper that represents Warriors and also symbolises divine protection, faith and resilience, as well as all of Melbourne's past and present players. So underneath the chevron they've got in the local language, all hearts beat true for the red and the blue. While Sydney, they have adopted artwork from the renowned First Nations artist Jordan Ardler. It is titled Wurri Wurri, which means sunshine. There's an acknowledgement of Gadigal and Bidigal country that Sydney HQ sits on. It depicts the SCG and people passing through and aiming to leave it in a better place than when they arrived.
Beautiful. Just watching Judd McVie here.
He's not having a great time.
No, he's clearly had
what's happened?
Something that's upset his stomach. So at half time,
it's all coming back up.
It's all coming back out. And now, as we know, Bob, that some players get a bit nervous when they start a game or after half time.
I know we're on the polls, but Chris Mew is the name that
Chris Mew sure is. Yeah,
there.
Yeah.
Mark Williams for half a moment came over concerned and then thought, there's nothing I can do to help you. So either continue on or the sub will be made. So Taylor Adams for the Sydney Swans. And
I would make that sub.
Or the Demons.
I would make the Taylor Adams sub now. I think they need some more life in their midfield. They need some hardness in their midfield.
Would you consider putting Taylor Adams into the middle, where that's where he made his name? But who do you put forward? Like, is it time to risk losing by more, but having some options forward? Maybe it is Heaney deep, isolate him deep, put Adams into the middle, try and get some supply and see if your star can hit the scoreboard, because they look impotent forward. They really do. It's not quite there for them so far in the first half, the Swans.
Well, if you look at contested football, it's Melbourne plus 19 in that first half, and then if you look at ground ball gets, it's Melbourne plus 13.
I'm more of a running bounce man, but I appreciate that sort of input.
Nick Blakey's had the 8 disposals to half-time, so maybe here's one in which Dean Cox could look at. Plenty of SMSs coming through about your favourite pool. 0437 774 774 as Ben Cameron has lit up the SMS line. Cheerio to Nick, who's listening in South Australia. Listening to the call, about to put a lamb rack in the wood oven. Say hi to my dad in Victoria. Second half about to get underway. The Demons.
How long does it take to get to South Australia?
That's distracting.
Cameron.
Underway in the second half. Melbourne lead by 22 points and they come away with the footy. Langford running an arc. He'll now kick towards centre half forward. Bouncing ball. Johnson overruns it. Out the back it goes. Melksham spinning. Goes one way, then the other. Handballs to no one. Oliver goes and picks it up. Gets it back to Johnson. Flicks it on. Here's Pickett again.
All over.
Really?
Triple treat. And too easy for the D's.
MV Pickett. Most valuable Pickett. He's the most dangerous player in the forward 50 on the ground. He might not be the best player on the ground, but in a game that has lacked that skill and class and finesse in front of goal, Cozzy Pickett, he stands head and shoulders above the rest of his counterparts. And if he's given that much space inside forward 50, just to be able to take a handball and roll around as easy as you like and snap one on his right foot, well, that is alarm bells for the Sydney Swans, who really, this is all chips on the table right now for Sydney for this season. And if their hearts are broken from previous grand finals, well, it's a long way home from here.
Melbourne by 28 points, 7-11-53, plays 4-1-25, 1 minute into the second half.
He's up to 16 goals for the season, having put 5 against the Dockers earlier in the season here at the MCG. Grundy tries to offer some sort of response for the Swans. Gets the hand pass out, works out with Cleary, and now to Jordan, kicks up towards half forward, clears the forwards for the Swans, and Lever picks it up for Melbourne. Hand pass to Salem. His kick up the wing is intercepted by Blakey, who marks in front of Bailey Fritsch. Swans have it centre wing on the Shane Wonstand side as the floodlights look to take toll, and a 50-metre penalty. I can only assume this is Bailey Fritsch, who is being asked to come back on the mark. He looks like the player most guilty. As Christian Petrarca and Clayton Oliver go over to the umpire to get some sort of clarity. And a chance of the Swans to strike back. They managed just the 2 goals in that second quarter. Melbourne put 3 goals 8. Nick Blakey has spent some time in his career as a forward. Normally you prefer him on the run. He's out to the right. He'll kick from about 35 metres out with Max Gawn standing on the mark. And Blakey sparked the Swans. He comes in and fires on goal and gives them something to build on. The Demons have booted 4 of the last 5 goals of the match, but the Swans pull it back to a 22-point lead in harm's way. 7-11-53 to the Swans, 5-1-31. Nick Blakey with his first goal of the afternoon. Bob Murphy and Adam Romanascus with you on Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
It's a huge penalty. Yeah. Bailey Fritsch is still... He doesn't know if it's because he wasn't coming back off the mark. He clearly couldn't hear the umpire. The umpire was a fair way away, and he still doesn't know why the 50 was called. So it's a massive penalty for a really simple error, and if you can't hear, you can't hear. But it's just kept the door ever so slightly ajar for the Swans as the Lizards slammed it through.
Now, for our Melbourne listeners, you'll break away from the footy coverage shortly for an update as to what's taken place at Northland Shopping Centre with Justin Smith. If you want to stay with the footy, the ABC Listen app has you covered.
Out of the middle, here's Pickett again, kicking inside 50 for the D's. Overshoots his target, to the pocket it goes. Johnson can't gather the footy. McCartan can. Handballs to Bias. He taps it back to Johnson, gets it on the boot. Slides off the side of it, out of bounds on the full. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Round 11 from the MCG. Melbourne by 22, a goal apiece to begin this second half.
Now Docklands as the Suns 2 straight 12, leading the Saints Euro-Heroic 1-1-7. We'll take you there at the completion of this match. Blakey up towards half-back. Heaney couldn't take the mark. Rivers squeezed the kick to Pickett, the most dangerous player on the ground. He marked right on 50, pretty much directly in front. Threatening to light up the MCG.
Well, it's not the right matchup anymore forward. So Wicks he's trying. He's certainly doing that, but it's not the right matchup.
Cosy Pickett with the number 36 on his back that Aaron Davey, of course, wore for the red and the blue. It goes a barrel, so he is human, and puts it out to the right, and it bounces in the field of play. So he didn't make great contact, but it didn't go out on the full, and a boundary thrown in the right forward pocket for the Demons.
It comes with an element of risk, the talk.
Who should they send to him, Rama?
Oh,
it's hard to get the right one, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I probably should have worked that out.
Grundy lays it down, and Wicks sends up with the footy.
Surely James Goodwin is the best option, isn't he?
Their name could be Paul as well. That'd be 2 for 1.
I did ask the question because when he said it, I started thinking, and I came up empty as well, as Rivers kicks the full forward. Johnson slaps it away. Ball still live, 20 out from the attacking goal. Oliver shovels it out. Petrarca goes in, toughs it up. Here is James Jordan. He's tackled a ground ball up.
I would put Ollie Florent to him. And I know they use Ollie Florent more as an attacking player, but they just don't have the cattle out there at the moment, the Swans. So, yeah, you got to put one of your good players to him.
Brody Grundy does the ruck work and the roving. He kicks the spiralling ball into the middle of the ground, but no one's home for the Sydney Swans, and Stephen May takes the intercepting mark. Hamling races down to stand on the mark as he works it through the middle of the ground. Judd McVie has continued on, so he's kept his lunch down as he feeds the hand pass to Rivers inside 50. Gone! In front of Grundy, takes the mark. Too big, too strong.
Come on, Brody.
Too imposing.
No, he's got to be better than that, Brody Grundy. There's no reason Max should mark that. Yeah, okay, he's got front position, but you got to fight there, Grundy. Fight to get the arm into spoil it, at least bring it to ground.
That is Max at his best, though. Arms outstretched, held Grundy at bay, and a towering mark as he'll go back from just slightly right of centre and will kick from just inside 50. Had a sider early in the match. Looking to try and ram through another one for Melbourne. Matt Scorn, the captain, comes in and he hangs it out to the left. So 7 goals, 12-54 for Nam. The Swans 5-1-31. It is a 23-point margin. 6 minutes gone, third term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Blakey with the kick in, up the middle for Heaney. Through his grasp it goes, out the back, picked up by Langdon for Melbourne in the middle. Sweeping handball. Off the Rivers, kicks laterally. Out to the wing for Lindsay, the left footer. Pokes it out wide, and Fritsch marks just inside 50, moves it on to Pickett. Not 15, back to Fritsch. Can't escape one tackle, goes back to Pickett. He'll snap on goal, to the goal square it goes. Johnson touches it, and it bounces through. A lot of the Melbourne fans thought it might have just been bouncing through. Looks like we might get a check of it as well.
Well, we're doing that. A few balls are coming through.
Yeah.
You'll read off a few, Rammer?
Well, there's a text message there from Tim. He's talking about Paul Sharkey from Collingwood. Now, I coached against Paul Sharkey today.
Did you?
Yes. So his boy Xavier plays for Aberfeldy. So My boy plays for Strathmore. Very good man, Paul Sharkey.
Well, your old mob, the Bombers, had quite a few notable balls.
Paul Barnard.
Paul Salmon, of course.
Paul Salmon, yeah.
Paul Vanderhaar is getting a shout out from
Paul
John
Weston.
Coburn.
It's been a successful name, Paul.
Paul
Curtis.
Couch.
Paul Curtis, one of my favourites at the moment.
Well, Paul Couch, another Brownlow medalist.
More than Paul Roos, because you've...
Paul Chapman, a Norm Smith medalist.
You've been very strong on the Roos train.
Now you've got him, Bob.
It's a great podcast. You should listen to it daily.
Who says I don't?
I meant people out there, not so much you, Bob.
Charlie Spargo's dad, the great North Melbourne, Paul Spargo.
Paul Bullis, of course.
Paul Bullis.
Ungainly.
Loved him. I was a Tiger supporter as a kid.
Same.
Loved him.
Monday mornings were tough.
Roberts trying to kick off a step up to the wing, out of bounds on the full. Free kick going to Melbourne. Jake Lever to take it. Melbourne by 24 points. Jake Lever, first time this year he and May have played together. Waits a kick and Blakey bobs up to mark. Intercepts it there for Sydney. He'll chip a ball back to the wing. Lever and Laddams over their head. Lever the first to recover, gathers on the bounce. Melbourne back in possession, handball to Windsor. Somehow a kick to Salem, who flicks it to his own advantage. Handball to Mark, now he plays on, dangerous kick into the middle. Turnover, Hayward marks, they're all streaming forward. 50s.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that one is 50 though.
Totally,
Yep.
100%.
I don't love the rule.
Just
because it's really at the discretion of the umpire, obviously, but...
That was a pure one, wasn't it? Yeah.
He was there far too late, Salem.
Umpire Jeff Dalglish.
That is a horrific double mistake, isn't it, from the Demons? Kicking error and then to encroach on the mark. Huge moment in the game.
Only goalless once this year, Will Hayward. 14 goals from his 10 games. Sydney trying to kick back-to-back majors for the first time today, and they've done it. They begin the climb back into this contest. It's only 18 points. 7-13, 55 plays 6-1, 37. 10 into the third term, Lauren Borden before Adam Ramanauskas and Bob Murphy.
Sorry, Bob. It does look like Taylor Adams is getting set to come on very shortly. He's been fidgety all game, but he's doing a lot of serious run-throughs along the boundary, so he might be coming on soon.
Yeah, Bob caught it really well there. Just a couple of mistakes, couple of errors back-to-back from the Demons. Just sat there too long, that kick, and terrific speed by Will Hayward. To get there, to intercept that ball, but then to give Salem, he makes the error, then to give the 50-metre penalty away. Yeah, it's just...
You're the coach amongst us, Ramo. That's a tough one for Simon Goodwin.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Sydney with the last 2 goals of the match, and the game could come to life. From the stoppage, it spills out the way of Langford. Tries to shovel a hand pass back to Windsor. He's worked off it. Sheldrick centering ball. Cleary comes leading out and hugs it to his chest with Salem in tow. Swans are just starting to build a bit of momentum.
They've found something.
Yep.
They've been given a chance. Melbourne, they had this for the taking. They were looking for the knockout punch, and not only have they failed to land a knockout punch, they've punched themselves in the jaw twice, and now they've given Sydney a real chance to get back in the game, and they look like they're lighter on their feet all of a sudden.
Caden Cleary has footy in hand for the Sydney Swans to grow a little, to move a little closer. His shot on goal from just inside 50 is out to the left at a minor score. Now the Demons leading by 17 points, 7-13, 55. The Swans 6-2, 38. At Docklands, it's the Gold Coast Suns 2-1, 13, leading the Saints 1-1, 7.
May with the kick into the pocket. Turner just spinning the footy. Now a high kick up towards neutral territory on the wing. Good mark, McCartan. Reels it in one-handed. Just forward of the logo, southern side of the ground. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Oh, his kick is a shocker. A little laid back on it, and it slews off the side of the boot. Pitches on the line, throwing coming.
You got me, Ben. I've been thinking for the last 5 or 6 minutes about the former Melbourne Paul that was the ABC boundary rider, Paul Callery. Thank you for the SMS that came through on 0437 774 774. About 5 minutes I've been trying to think of that name, and you got me.
Gawn taking it out of the ruck. Forward handball for Melbourne, trying to get it to Bowie. Sock it on inadvertently there by the Sydney player Sheldrick. Now they wrap up Spargo. Taken to ground there by Riley Bice. Last time I broadcast him, it was in an O&M League Grand Final for Albury a couple of years ago.
How did he play that day?
He was best. He wasn't best, didn't win the medal, but he was very impressive.
Free kick going the way of Max Gawn. He was held in the ruck battle. Kicks up towards Melcham, who crashed the pack. Ball spills clear. Petrarca races after it. He has to become the tackler on Roberts, and the umpire will ball it up in the left forward pocket for the Demons. At the city end of the MCG, the Seagulls floating above as it's thrown in the air. Gawn against Laddams, palm the down boundary side.
So 18 points margin, Bob. It's always, you just need to be close enough in the last quarter if you're Sydney. Okay, if they're within 2 or 3 goals in this last quarter, you give them every chance.
It's a totally different game now that Sydney have found some energy, some hope and belief.
Thrown back in, it clears Gawn and Laddams, and Clayton Oliver with Langdon lays the tackle on James Jordan. Now Melbourne by 17 points. 14 minutes gone, third term on ABC Sport.
Gawn tapping it down. Sydney with lots of numbers around the footy. Jordan soccers it out close to the boundary line. Langdon goes in, flicks it back up to Jordan. Tackle to ground. James Jordan, of course, a premiership player with Melbourne back in 2021. COVID year, the grand final at Perth Stadium, and sadly, regrettably, I think, didn't get on the ground as the medical sub then. Ball goes straight up and down a mine shaft. Comes down for Laddams. He coughs it up. Lindsay. Windsor stepping inside 50 for the D's. Back to Lindsay. His kick into the pocket. Too wide for Gawn. Out on the full, and Sydney in their back pocket will get it. D's by 17 points. 14 minutes played in the third.
As the Swans have it through Riley Bice. Looking for the options to try and get out of defence. There's not a lot of movement, so he'll have to potentially kick as long as he can, although he's more adventurous than that. He plays on, got around Gawn and around Bailey Fritsch, and then eventually kicks out to right half back. So the more unconventional route, but did find Wicks, who kicks up to Laddams. Lever makes the spoil. Off hands, it's picked up by McLean. Sydney have numbers around here. Hand pass to Chad Warner. Feeds the hand pass forward to Jordan. A driving kick inside 50. Hayward underneath. Getting back. Turner, he gave away the free kick. Front on contact. And the Swans all of a sudden were able to transition from half-back inside 50. Hayward gets the free kick.
I'm not sure what more Daniel Turner's meant to do in that situation. So he wasn't looking at Will Hayward. He was going back with the fly to the ball, had eyes on the ball.
I feel your pain.
That's a tough one. That's a really tough one. That to me looks
like a drop mark. The harsh criticism is Jake Lever up on the wing, who leaves his man and makes the spoil, but he didn't kill the ball.
7 disposals and a goal for Will Hayward. And he misses to the left-hand side. So the Swans now are unable to take their chances. 2-2 in this third quarter to Narm's 1-2. It's the Demons who hold a 16-point advantage. 16 minutes gone. Third term Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Stephen May goes up towards the wing. Flying at the footy, Fritsch drops the mark. Petrarca gets onto it. He'll kick towards half forward. Floating kick. Melcham caught behind. Causes a contest. Out the back, McCartan cleans up for Sydney. Kick up towards the wing. Good mark, Lindsay. Running back with the flight. He's bundled over late. Umpire says nothing in it. Lindsay kicks out wide. Mark taken by Langdon. Runs around. Driving ball to full forward for the D's. Up they go. Melcham in front. Punched away by McCartan. Ball hits the deck. Fighting after it again, Melcham. Tackled to ground. And a ball up deep in the left forward pocket here for the D's. They lead it by 16.
We've
16 and a half played.
Sorry, we've talked about Cozzy Pickett a lot today in positive. I'd love to see him change up his angle here.
Laddams slaps it down onto a Petrarca. His kick knocked away, picked up by Corey Warner. High kick, Fritsch underneath it, worried out of it at the last. Ball hits the ground. Fritsch plays tunnel ball. Oliver trying to work his way through. Rugby scrum at the moment, nothing clean. Oliver eventually out to Windsor, half forward for the D's. Kick to the pocket. Here's Pickett. He's been everywhere today and he's got it 46 out. Right up against the boundary line. Left half forward for the D's.
This is why he's such a valuable player, because he's just as valuable at a forward 50 stoppage when he's buzzing around and trying to get blocked and get that loose ball. But like Eddie Betts and Stephen Milne and Cyril Rioli, the great small forwards, he can also get you on the lead.
What can he muster here? The drop punt from wide out. The Wizard of Cos. He's a magician, all right. No angle is too great. Melbourne by 22 points. 8-13-61 plays 6-3-39, and they will roar him off. 4 goals for Cozzy Pickett.
Yeah, they've been terrific. That was a terrific set shot there by Cozzy Pickett. He opened up the angle, goes slightly enough. But what's he had? He's had the 16 possessions now. 4 goals, 4 clearances.
It's a match-winning performance. It just screams match winner at the moment. There's a lot of good players. There's a lot of stats, and players are having good games, but his performance at the moment is a class above the rest, and he's the difference.
He exactly is that. Melbourne by 22 points. Pickett with 4 goals. He is the difference between the two sides. Gawn and Grundy in the middle of the ground. Grundy slaps it down, looking for Heaney. Knocks it on to Cal Mills. He's tackled by Rivers. And the ball stuck underneath the two of them, and the umpire will ball it up. 0437 774 774 is the SMS line. Cheerio to Helen and Mark, who are listening to our call from Portugal. So the ABC Listen app working loud and clear there. Here's a chance for the Demons, although unable to break clear. On the bottom of the pack is Max Gawn, with about 3 Swans preventing him getting the footy clear. On the edge of the centre square on the MCC members side, Gawn tries to take it out of the ruck against Grundy. Couldn't get a boot to it. Sliding in is Spargo. He's locked up, and the umpire will ball it up with heat and Bice to rise.
Umpire lofts it to the sky. Gawn slapping it down. Grundy flicks it on. Heaney coming through. Handball away to Mills. Handball to Wicks. Backtracking. Has to twist and turn. His kick not a great one, up and under and towards the wing. Eventually carried out by Campbell.
It would be also a bad matchup. Maybe Braden Campbell goes there. He's not getting a lot of the ball playing as a forward. He's got the speed to go with Cozzy Pickett. It's just has he got the ability to play and the skill to play as a defender.
Melbourne by 22 points. Gawn takes it out of the ruck. Grundy pinches it from him. He's tackled to ground by Oliver. Ball jars loose. Picked up by Salem. Handball to Langdon, the running man. He'll centre his kick. Fritsch in good position. Hands to it. Got it. 15 out directly in front. And this is a real chance to put another nail in Sydney's coffin today.
Well, it's a good kick by Ed Langdon. So he had Petrarca coming at him, but Petrarca's direct opponent was right there, right on his tail. Go to the top of the square. Another dangerous spot. Fritsch good enough to mark it.
Their 5-time leading goal kicker rams it through the middle. Melbourne by an equal game high 28 points. 9-13-67 plays 6-3-39. Time on third term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Well, if the sound of Bailey Fritsch slamming another one home for the Demons isn't enough to upset the Sydney supporters, just watching Isaac Heaney for the last couple of minutes while Bailey Fritsch is taking a mark, going back and slotting it through, he was on his haunches the entire time, deep in conversation with what looked to be a medical staff member. It could have been a physio, could have been a trainer. He looks really, really sore. You'd think at this point, if Sydney are able to mount some kind of a challenge and kick a score, it'll have to be through Isaac Heaney, but he looks really sore, gents.
The Swans kicked 2 goals on the bounce and then 2 behinds, and the Demons have answered with the last 2 goals of the match. Back in the middle, free kick going the way of the Swans for a hold. It'll go the way of Chad Warner. He looks out towards half forward. Campbell's at true centre half forward. He tries to kick longer than that in the direction of Heaney or McLean. McLean flies, can't take the mark. Grundy tries to shovel a hand pass forward. Lindsay works the hand pass to the Demons to McVee. Turner's kick was risky, you heard there. And Chandler takes the mark. Curls onto his left-hand side, kicks out to Bailey Fritsch, who gets the hand pass away to Ed Langdon. Melbourne run the Shane Warne stand wing. He takes a bounce and chips it back to Fritsch, coming one direction. He missed him. Rampy the other. He knocks it clear, but straight to Langdon, who tries to hand pass back to Fritsch. Knocks it on to Salem. Was tackled when he didn't have it. Melbourne take the advantage. There was no real advantage. The kick is chopped off by Roberts, who marks in the right back pocket for the Swans.
His kick chopped off by Johnson, spills to Salem. He kicks on goal, and another for the D's. A new game high lead of 34 points. 10-13, 73. Plays 6-3, 39. 23 minutes into the third. Adam Ramanauskas and Bob Murphy.
Well, they're getting some reward now, Bob. That's 12 inside 50s to 6 in this quarter. 4 goals, 2 now for the Demons. So getting a little bit of reward. The problem for Sydney, they're kicking the ball at 48% in this quarter. So again, not enough hands on the football for the Swans. Only 43 possessions for this quarter, and we're 23 minutes in.
Well, the thing about the Bloods, blood needs to pump, and the thing that pumps your blood is your heart, and I feel like they've played with broken hearts for most of the year, and the Demons have found theirs in the last little while. They have found and playing with real spirit, and the Swans not so much.
Bob Murphy and Adam Ramanauskas. Lauren Borden on the boundary at Langdon is heading your way.
He is heading my way in the arms of a trainer. I'll have a watch on him. It looks like there might be blood on his eye at the moment, but it is Taylor Adams who's gone into the centre circle as well. So he'll play his first game since opening round, coming on as the sub. He's been ready to go since the very start of this match, and it's Sam Wicks that's come off for Sydney.
Thanks, Loz. Lauren Borden on the boundary for us for Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport. Melbourne by 34 points. We're at one stage Sydney trailed by just 16 in this third term. In the middle of the ground, it's Taylor Adams on cue, trying to knock it out for the Swans. Defensive side of the centre square to Chad Warner. Kicks out to the members' side. On the bounce for Jordan. Got a cruel bounce and couldn't gather. Campbell overran the footy as well. Sliding in Langford, lost his footing. McVee picks it up for Melbourne. Hand pass to Bowie, turns it straight over. Lloyd takes the mark, centre wing for the Swans. He's called to play on, steps off his line. Looks up towards half forward in the direction of McLean. It's over his fingertips. Laddam's there as well. Lever picks it up for Melbourne. Hand pass to Salem. Works it back to Gawn. Little chip kick to Bowie, who marks against the boundary line at right half back.
You're in good form, Rammer. Weeks subbed out. Ollie Florent has gone and stood next to Cozzy Pickett.
They're listening to ABC in the coach's box.
The D's quickly down the members' wing. Spargo kicks to that man. Pickett again. It doesn't matter who's on him. He marks, misses.
Fuzzy.
Played on from 20 out, slight angle. Missed the snap on goal, looking for a handful.
He is absolutely lining it up as Blakey brings Sydney back into play. Mark was dropped by Chandler, allowed Chad Warner to pick it up, kicks in the middle of the ground. Adams had a fumble. He has enough time to gather the sub. His hand pass, though, missed Rampy. He leaves it in the end, and Corey Warner's able to get away from Cozzy Pickett. No easy task. He kicks the Swans up to half forward. McLean's in prime position. May got back. Chopping of the arms. Free kick going Hayden McLean's way. For half a moment, Heaney was trying to take the advantage. So the umpire gesturing, shepherding in the marking contest. No, hang on. How's this a Melbourne free kick?
Yeah, it is. Who is that? Judd McVee, yeah.
Yep, Judd McVee. So umpire gesturing, I guess it was shepherding in the marking contest. McVee was taken out. He kicks out towards the Shane Warne stand wing, where Petrarca takes the mark for Melbourne in game 200.
Melbourne by 35 points. Moves it on short to Caleb Windsor. Didn't have his best day last week, just 6 disposals, an equal career low. Kicks to a contest here, Rivers brings it down. Oliver able to go and get it. He'll kick the D's around the southern wing, up towards a contest. Fritsch, and bodies his opponent to mark. Forward of halfway, looks inside 50 for the D's. Spargo on a back lead. Up he goes, doesn't take the mark. Roberts, wants the line, gets it.
But it's fair to say Fritsch hasn't been going as well as he would have liked. You can fill your boots in these games, Bob, so get some confidence back. He's kicked the goal now. Get yourself up the ground.
I'm not familiar with that concept, but I'll try and keep up of trying to play well once the game's over.
Throw in clears Gawn and Grundy. Now Mills came aggressively at the ball, cleaned up Spargo, I should say. Now the Demons have tried to take advantage. The all clear is given, and would you believe it? It's Cozzy Pickett who puts through his fifth. I'll have a look at that from Callum Mills, and obviously the Melbourne players are coming in to remonstrate as well. But the Demons able to capitalise on another inside 50 occasion. And Cozzy Pickett has been the star of the show this afternoon. He has 5 as Narm lead by 41 points. 5 goals, 3 in this third quarter after booting 3 goals, 8 in the second. 11-14-80 to the Swans, 6-3-39. Adam Romanascus and Bob Murphy on ABC Sport.
I think he'd be okay there, Cal Mills. So, yeah, look, he did come off the ground. Charlie Spargo's up and he's fine.
Left the ground.
Yeah. I don't know if he will be all right, Rama.
I've got to say, Rama, my instinct is that he may not be okay.
I think he'll be better off that Spargo's okay. But
yeah, that's probably where I'm going with it.
Yeah,
Spargo had to come off the ground. Had the light.
Did he have another option?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, that's what they look at, and he hit him in the head.
Restart in the middle. Grundy picks it up, gives it out to Heaney. He'll kick up towards half forward, dropping the mark. Windsor recovers for the men in red and blue. Off to Chandler, twisting, turning, grubbering a kick. Windsor picks it up, runs a little twirl and then kicks up towards the middle of the ground. Rivers marks off to Petrarca. 55 out, running shot on goal. Offline, away to the left. And if you're picking maybe a minor issue with his game, it's like picking a problem in a Rembrandt artwork, but there's maybe just his kicking and kicking inside 50.
Yeah, that's Dangerfield. Dangerfield always had a little issue with that as well. So everybody has a little bit of kryptonite. There's no perfect footballer.
Yep.
Lauren Borton on the boundary.
I think they might be pulling Charlie Spargo off here. So it might be one of those instances where all the physios and doctors on Melbourne side went up to the interchange bench to the umpires and said, they tapped their head and said, we need to stop the game here. It's a head knock. So they've stopped it in this instance at the stoppage or at the what'll be a kick in to pull Charlie Spargo off here.
Sharp's about to come straight into the game. So Spargo's about to be subbed out. So that is very bad news for Callum Mills.
Well, if he's concussed.
He looks fine. Straight out.
He looks fine.
You've been very versatile today, Rami. You started the day as coach and now you jumped into defence lawyer. Very I'm here for it. This is magnificent by you.
Melbourne leading by 42 points as the Swans through Nick Blakey.
It's actually the first time I've seen Rama play defence, so... sorry, Rama.
Couldn't help himself. Kicks up towards Hayward. Centre wing on the members' side. Can't complete the mark. Taylor Adams' hand pass is chopped off by Turner for the Demons. Hand pass to Gawn. Turned it over to Heaney. Hand pass to Rowbottom to Chad Warner, streaming through the middle of the ground. Campbell one-on-one with Bowie. Great kick to his advantage on the right-hand side, and Braden Campbell takes the mark.
Few and far between. Sydney ball movement like that, back through the middle of the ground. And Bob mentioned it a couple of times in the first quarter where they were able to come back through the corridor, but the second and third quarter, this third quarter, just haven't been non-existent, really.
Clear out the forward 50 and try and get a matchup you like. And Braden Campbell now trying to finish the work. Out to the left with that left boot, he comes in, fires on goal. He makes it look so clinical as he sends through a goal to keep the Swans alive for a moment. Narm leading by 36 points, 5 goals to 3 so far the Demons' way in this third term. 11-15-81 to the Swans 7-3-45. Adam Romanascus and Bob Murphy, your experts on ABC Sport.
Yeah. Well, when the Sydney Swans are at their best, they're close to the best field kicking team in the competition. We've seen that in the last few years. We haven't seen enough of it this year, and we haven't seen much of it all today. And Chad Warner's entry there, that's kind of the bookends of kicking in footy. It was a bit of a mongrel, but it was effective because of the power and the line that he ran through the middle of the ground. But to be fair, Braden Campbell goes back, takes a really good mark. It was a contested mark, genuine one-on-one contested mark. And the set shot, that's about as well as you can kick a football. That was talking about a Rembrandt. In terms of a set shot, that was pretty close to art.
Certainly was. Beautiful kick as Gawn taps it down, swooping on a Pickett, but he coughs it up. A quick kick from Sheldrick inside 50. Mark taken there by Turner. Offensively for the D's as he flares it out wide. McVie marks. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Melbourne by 36. Late in this third term, it's going to be a long quarter. That Sydney goal ended a run of 4 from Melbourne. The D's today Salem's kick, short to a 50-50. It comes down to ground level. Salem goes back and makes amends. Off to Langdon. He's run down, just gets rid of it. Lindsay picks it up, kicks around the southern wing boundary. Coming up, McCartan juggles the mark. Sydney back in possession, just backward of halfway.
Tom McCartan comes inboard to Lloyd, who takes the mark at right half back. Inboard to Roberts by foot, who has players free across the half back line. So switches back to Blakey. Can chip it out to Campbell, the last goal scorer on the members' wing. Now Cleary's worked a long way up and he's in separation here as he takes the mark in front of Judd McVie. So Sydney have got to halfway, but now the kick inside 50 as Grundy and McLean are the deepest targets. So McLean kicks it as far as he can. In the pack was Max Gawn, couldn't complete the mark. It spills off the hands of Isaac Heaney. Gawn knocks it out to Lever, gets the hand pass away to Langford. Hand pass to McVie, take it high, takes the advantage. Hand pass to Sharp, the sub gets involved. Hand passes to Windsor, back to Sharp down low when he's tackled over the boundary line by Braden Campbell, and a boundary throw in. Now lots of suggestions for famous pulls in the footy world. Ben Cameron, you asked for this. 0437 774 774. Paul Deere from Nick in Canberra.
Any love for Paul Hudson in there?
How did I miss my old mate Hayes? I'm glad I didn't immediately go there. He's out of the middle, goes Chad Warner, chipping into the pocket, off hands. It's out of play. Maybe I just get on with people named Paul.
Rulai in Adelaide says, what about Paul Salmon in terms of one of the tallest Pauls?
Got to be the tallest Paul, surely.
Paul Lacuria says hello. That's from Ben. Paul Polopolo from Michael.
Melbourne by 36 points. Thrown inside 50 here for Sydney. Grundy knocks it down. Sock it on quickly there by Adams. Chopped off by Lever. A relieving kick. Flying boss. Didn't quite have the grip to bring it down. It hits the deck. Warner picks it up. Half back here for Sydney. Ball close to the boundary line. Chandler goes in. Sharp sockers it on towards the boundary line, but it stays in and eventually knocked out by Roberts. And the umpire wants to spin it in. Just on the length of this quarter, so 35 minutes it's going to be, and maybe some more. I ran a theory on the ABC AFL Daily podcast with Paul Roos about when the ball goes out of bounds and through for a behind, maybe the clock could keep running.
Yep,
you like it?
Yep.
What about you?
Did you offer that or Paul Roos?
I offered that. Is that going to change your opinion?
I might text him after this and just double check that.
Also, Ben who?
I'm on pretty good terms with Paul.
Going to have to get the ABC fact check department just to work out how many references Paul Roos has had this afternoon in the Paul Roos Cup. Sydney and Melbourne. Cheerio to Roosie. Here's Cleary, tackle by Windsor, brought to turf, and the umpire is going to play holding the ball.
I think
Roosie could almost invoice at this point.
I think the clock should only stop in the last 5 minutes of a quarter. That's it.
That's a basketball rule, isn't it?
Yeah.
As Windsor kicks out to Ed Langdon, members side. He sends it up towards half forward. In front, Melcham was bumped out of it by McCartan. Petrarca front and centre. Kicks across the top of the 50, and Chad Warner getting back. Takes the mark. Chips it into the middle of the ground. Awkward ball. Rampy was able to run onto it. His hand pass missed Cleary, though. And Bice, it bounces off him as the siren sounds for three-quarter time. The Demons, having led by 22 points at half-time, turn the good of 36 points, the Swans, at three-quarter time. 11-15-81 to Sydney 7-3-45. The Demons in that third term putting 5 goals 4 to the Swans 3 goals 2 after 3 goals 8 in the second quarter. The Swans got back within 16 points, but the Demons were able to finish with 4 of the last 5 goals of the quarter to lead by 36 points.
So part of my theory with that as well is back in the olden days, you would kick it behind and you're playing with one ball. So you'd have to go and fetch the ball, wait for the goal umpire to wave their flag. Nowadays there's balls behind the goals. You can play on immediately. So there's no worries there.
The clock stops because they have to go to a commercial or whatever the networks do.
So we need to do that because we need that free-to-air TV money because it's important the game remains on free-to-air TV.
Correct.
When it goes out of bounds as well, we've changed the threshold for deliberate out of bounds. It's now insufficient intent. So it's harder than ever before to use the boundary to waste time in the game as well.
That's right.
So that's why I think you could keep it running for both of those things.
Well, players aren't trying to waste time early in quarters.
Is this what you and Roosie were talking about? How long for?
About 2 minutes. It's a great pot. So you would have heard this on Monday if you downloaded the pod and listened.
I'm saving it, but I might jump through that 2 minutes. It's a bit dry.
Let me interrupt you here. Narm lead by 36 points, if you don't mind. 11-15-81 to the Swans 7-3-35. So the Demons with 26 scoring shots at 10. Cozzy Pickett has been the star of the show. He's booted 5 goals, 3 individuals to Salem, Petrarca, Gorn, Melcham, Fritsch and Sparrow, while for the Swans 2 goals to Pete Laddams, individuals to Heaney, Haywood, Campbell and Blakey alongside Joel Hamling in his 100th game. At Docklands, it's the Gold Coast Suns who lead 5-2-32 to Europe St Kilda 2-4-16. That's in the second quarter there. We will take you to Docklands at the completion of our game. And earlier it was the Crows who defeated the Eagles 19-14, 128 to the Eagles 8-14-62. Josh Rochelle finished with 5 goals for the Adelaide Crows. And Jake Waterman suffered a badly dislocated shoulder in the final term. And unfortunately he's been taken to hospital, so won't be able to fly home with his teammates. So a bit of a sour end for him, finishing with 3 goals for the Eagles in that match. The Demons leading by 36 points. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Get ABC AFL Daily Podcast with Premiership coach Paul Roos. Here it is! Alongside Corbin Middlemass, Ben Cameron and Poppy Penny. ABC AFL Daily Podcast. It's your daily footy conversation. Find it on the ABC Listen app. This is the Sir Doug Nicholls Round.
On your radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app.
Goes one way, then the other. Handballs to no one. Oliver goes and picks it up. Gets it back to Johnson. Flicks it on. Here's Pickett again.
All over.
Really. Triple treat. And too easy for the D's.
MV Pickett, most valuable Pickett. He's the most dangerous player on the ground.
His kick up the wing is intercepted by Blakey. Who marks in front of Bailey Fritsch. Swans have it centre wing on the Shane Warne-Stan side as the floodlights look to take toll, and a 50-metre penalty. I can only assume this is Bailey Fritsch who is being asked to come back on the mark. He looks like the player most guilty. And Blakey sparked the Swans. He comes in and fires on goal and gives them something to build on.
Remember the mark. Now he plays on. Dangerous kick into the middle. Turnover. Haywood marks. They're all streaming forward. 50s.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that one is 50 though.
Totally.
Yep.
100%.
Only goalless once this year, Will Haywood. Sydney trying to kick back-to-back majors for the first time today, and they've done it. They begin the climb back into this contest. Out to Windsor, half forward for the D's. Kick to the pocket. Here's Pickett. He's been everywhere today, and he's got it 46 out, right up against the boundary line. What can he muster here? The drop punt from wide out. The Wizard of Cos. He's a magician, all right. No angle is too great. Ball jars loose. Picked up by Salem. Handball to Langdon, the running man. He'll centre his kick. Fritsch in good position. Hands to it. Got it. 15 out directly in front. Their 5-time leading goal kicker. Rams it through the middle.
The throw-in clears Gorn and Grundy. Now Mills came aggressively at the ball, cleaned up Spargo, I should say. Now the Demons have tried to take advantage. The all clear is given, and would you believe it? It's Cozzy Pickett who puts through his fifth.
The 2025 Sir Doug Nicholls Round.
On your radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and on the ABC Listen app.
It's been the Cozzy Pickett Show for the second week of Sir Doug Nicholls Round at the MCG. Narm the Demons lead 11-15-81. The Swans 7-3-35. He's put at 5 goals, 3. Matt Clinch and Ben Cameron calling the action. Lauren Borden down on the boundary. Bob Murphy and Adam Ramanaskis, your experts. Both sides have made their sub. Taylor Adams into the action in the third quarter for Sam Wicks. And Charlie Spargo is out, and Harry Sharp came in, which will be the intrigue of the match review officer when Mark Christian makes his way through this match.
Yeah, it's been a demolition really since quarter time onwards from the Melbourne Footy Club, who have found life in the last month. They were gone for all money, the Demons, and they looked like a footy club that had a broken heart. And Sydney Swans, who after the devastating loss in the grand final, after repeated devastating losses in the grand final, have slumped this year. This looks like it's, to me anyway, it's not on the page. This is not about talent. It's not about the lineup. This is about a footy club in Sydney that has lost its heart and its soul for this year. They'll get it back, but at the moment they look like a footy team and a bunch of players that are grieving a grand final, and Melbourne have been able to resuscitate themselves back into this year.
The D's by 36 points as we get the final term underway. Brody Grundy wins down the tap to Heaney. He kicks out towards half forward. A cannon of bodies in the end as the legs were taken out. Taylor Adams and slow to rise here, Xavier Lindsay. Got trapped underneath. Adams face planting into the turf. That's not how he wants his return to go. Into the action in the third quarter. Kicks over the head of Hamling. Brought down by Stephen May. Towards Rivers in the back pocket. And passes to Lindsay. Back to Judd McVie. Kicks Melbourne up to Shane Warne Stanwing. In the direction of Petty. Nudged underneath it by McCartan, who juggles the mark for the Swans on the wing.
It's fantastic that Betty's mum has texted again.
I don't know who it is, but it's not my mum.
It is your mum.
They keep defaming my mum by texting in. As McLean gives it off to Heaney inside 50, and he tumbles it through. A couple for Isaac Heaney. And Melbourne's lead cut to 5 goals neat. 11-15-81 plays 8-3-51. 1 minute into the final term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
And it feels like a lot more than 5 goals, Bob.
Oh, yeah.
Feels like a lot more. But this is the thing. Like, I think Melbourne would still be slightly nervous in this last quarter. Now, get the game going, get it going your way. Really take the rest of the life out of Sydney if you can early in this quarter. But you don't want Sydney's good players to get up and going there. Heaney off the pack there gets a goal. Warner was involved in that little passage of play. So you don't want those guys getting their tails up early in this quarter and making the last quarter a hard slog for the Ds.
Heaney's sore. He's playing hurt at the moment. I don't know if he's got a hip or a groin issue, but he is their match winner at their disposal at the moment.
Heaney's second goal, it's a 5-goal margin. Colsey Pickett gets involved once more. Hand pass to Oliver, kicks the Ds inside 50. Free kick, Melbourne's way for a hold. And it's going to go the way of Harrison Petty. He and Melcher were in the pack for Melbourne. And that's 45-degree angle they've kicked from 35.
So that's against Dane Rampy. Okay. Yeah. That's a show of strength to me. That's 2 guys, trying to hold each other out. I just think that's a play on. That's a play like. Oh no, the other angle there. He's the jumper tug.
Well, they did both have each other's jumper, but at the critical moment, you can see why the umpire paid one to Harrison Petty.
Petty looking to join the list of goal kickers for the Demons. Just the 5 disposals this afternoon, but he has a goal now. As the Demons immediately answer the Isaac Heaney goal at the other end and restore a 36-point lead. Nam 12-15-87 to the Swans 8-3-51. Warren Borden on the boundary.
Charlie Spargo's just made his way up back onto the Melbourne bench. So sitting at the back of the bench has obviously been subbed off, but waiting to hear from Melbourne, who said they'd update me about whether he did pass that concussion test or not. Sam Wicks as well, it wasn't purely tactical. He's subbing off. Sydney saying a little bit of a tight hamstring as well. So no ice or anything on that, but it was a little tight hamstring for Sam Wicks.
Well, set of clearance again, really, for Melbourne there. It's Oliver involved there. Pickett was involved there. Pretty sharp play. Pretty sharp play when you got those 2 boys in there. So Rivers has now gone into this centre bounce to stand next to Isaac Heaney, which I like.
Back in the middle, slapping it down Grundy, but straight to Oliver. Eventually the ball comes out. Picked up by Rivers, who dribbles a kick forward here for the Ds. Picked up by Langdon. Flicks it out to Langford. Langford's kick goes inside 50. Pickett paddling to his own advantage. Handball goes to Roberts. He knocks it down. Pickett still going. Somehow extracts it. Flicks it out to Oliver. Now Oliver gets a kick away. It pinballs away. Gathered by Rowbottom. Kick from the D50. Up towards the wing. A shove and a free kick going the way of May. So May to get it for Melbourne. On the wing, D's lead by 36 points.
I mean this in the best possible way, but Cozzy Pickett's out there just having fun at the moment.
He is.
He's playing school footy.
Bowie inside 50, Melcher couldn't mark. Here's Pickett on cue. Dribbles it through and hits the left goal post. He has kicked 5 goals 4 this afternoon. If you bought a ticket to come to the footy, you're just watching him at this stage.
Yeah. To quote our friend Brett Delidio, he's taking the P1 double snakes at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah.
Unbelievable what is happening here with Cozzy Pickett as the kick goes into the middle. Off the hands of the pack, it comes down for Bowie. Bowie has nowhere to go. You've summed it up perfectly, Bob. It's just backyard football.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
It's a game of school footy for Cozzy Pickett at the moment. He knows or he feels like the game's done and dusted. He's the best player on the ground. He's feeling it. It's the peak of his powers. He's like, you know what? I'm going to give you the full Cozzy Pickett experience today.
Sydney, down the wing they go. Florent with the kick inside 50, looking for a marker. In from the side, McLean hands to it out the back. Grundy gets rid of it. Off towards Mills. He will snap on goal and feed it through from the tight angle.
Boundary.
Something for the Swans. Back to 31 points. 12-16-88 plays 9-3-57. 5 minutes into the fourth. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Lauren Borden.
Some good news for Melbourne is Charlie Spargo has passed his head injury assessment. So he was subbed off just to obviously get sharp on, but he has passed that assessment.
Well, that is good news.
For the defence.
That is. I feel comfortable now going in there on
King's Council.
What is it, on Tuesday night? I'll walk in there with my suit. I'm defending Cal Mills here.
Permission to approach the bench.
Nothing wrong. It's just a high tackle play on.
You said you got reported post 2000 grand final. You never went to the tribunal, did you?
Yes, we did. We did go because
got out of it?
No, because Hurdy wanted to challenge it.
That's right.
So the rest of us said we're not challenging it, and then Hurdy got fined even more. So that was hilarious.
Can't imagine you being at the tribunal, Bob.
You've guessed wrong.
Free kick going the way of the Sydney Swans in the middle of the ground. Brody Grundy was held. He feeds the hand pass around the back. Licks up with Taylor Adams, who's up to position number 5, being subbed in the third quarter. Out to Bice on the members' wing. His kick up towards half forward. No mark claimed in the end by Sheldrick, and the Demons respond from half back. Petrarca's kick is too wide in the end for Langford and goes out of play in front of the two benches. Nam, the Demons leading by 31 points. 7 minutes gone in the final term. Sydney with 2-1 so far in this final term. You know I'm coming for you, Bob.
Umpire brings it back in, and Grundy knocks it out towards Sheldrick. Right there with him is Oliver. Fighting after it, Langdon. Handball to Langford off his shin. Ricochets out. Melbourne by 31. What did you do, Bob?
How'd you end up at the tribunal?
Multiple reports.
Bad boy.
Striking, charging twice. I've got one story for you, though, that doesn't put me in a great light.
Grundy slaps it to the back from the throw-in on the wing. Johnston flies over the top there of Rowbottom. Melbourne by 31. Nearly 8 minutes into the fourth. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Where it's Johnson who wins down. It was Max Gorn who wins down the tap. Kick up towards half forward. Bowie couldn't quite gather. It's Taylor Adams who picks it up for Sydney. Hand pass.
Oh, lovely.
Couldn't get it to Clearian. Pinched by Bowie, who kicks up the wing from Melbourne. Sharp knocked it to his own advantage, and then got a cruel bounce, but a good tackle on Bice, who knocks it forward. Langford got down low. Sheldrick bounced into him. No free kick for high contact. Sheldrick inside 50. Chad Warner's gone forward. He can't take the mark. Hayward trying to knock it out. He's tackled by Lever. It rolls out towards the boundary line. Hayward keeps it alive. Hand pass to Cleary from the right forward pocket. Fires on goal. It's right, and it won't come back enough. The minor score, a 30-point lead the Demons' way at the 8-minute mark of the final term.
In my second or third year, we were talking about Cozzy Pickett. Well, the original wizard of Melbourne, of course, is Jeff Farmer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We got into a wrestle, and we were both reported for wrestling. The AFL had a look at the footage, and they decided that Jeff dominated me in the wrestle to such a degree that they only charged him for wrestling and not me. Inadvertently, that punishment was worse than giving me weeks.
Now he kicks up to the wing.
I really wish they'd have fined me.
Petrarca bursting away with it, gives it to Sharp, crosses the 50, 30 out, Sharp finish. And the silencer celebration. Melbourne by 36. 13-16, 94 plays 9-4-58. 9.5 minutes into the final term. Adam Ramanauskas and Bob Murphy.
Well, there's a lovely passage of play from the half-back flank then all the way forward. But I love the link-up of handball. You know, in the past, what Melbourne would do is rather than give that handball to a runner, it's just a bomb kick going inside forward 50. Allows defenders there, you know, an easy spoiler intercept mark. But when you got the grass in front, take the grass, particularly Harry Sharp, who we know is super fit. He runs a 5:52k time trial, Bob, so he can certainly run. But I love this new style from Melbourne. I know it's not perfect at the moment, but you can see they're trying to get the ball out in the open more. They're trying to use these new weapons that they have in runners.
Adam Romanascus with you on ABC Sport. Gawn wins down the tap against Grundy in the middle of the ground. Chad Warner can't take it cleanly first time around at centre half back. Feeds it back to Roberts. Hand pass away to Bice. Little chip kick. Left a bit to be done for Lloyd, and now he's in trouble. Langdon lays the tackle. Ball spills clear. Florent looked to be taken high. No whistle.
How hungry are they, though?
All of a sudden, Petty is trying to do the suplex wrestler move as he's got Lloyd hanging onto him. And the umpire will ball it up 40 metres out from the Demons' goal.
That's just appetite to defend, to compete.
Gawn taps it down, clearing kick from Warner. It goes to Oliver. 45 out directly in front. He'll go back and shoot for the sticks.
And when I say new weapons to run, I'm talking about Harvey Langford and Xavier Lindsay and Windsor, Harry Sharp, who just kicked that goal. So they've drafted guys over recent years, or traded in Harry Sharp's case. Guys that can do that.
It looks more balanced all of a sudden, doesn't it? They might be back, the D's.
Well, they've only got Jack Viney out at the moment. He's their only they've got a few others that are injured, but they wouldn't be first team players.
Clayton Oliver from right on the arc of 50. Drives it home. Maybe the D's are healing.
That's symbolic. Look at him get to him.
Nearly every Demon on the ground comes to celebrate with Clary.
Would have been nice to get all of them.
And maybe they're right back in the season.
Listen to that. That's for Clary as he comes off the ground. Big smile on his face.
It's a grin that could light up the MCG as he runs off. The D's by 42. 14-16, 100 plays 9-4-58. 12 minutes into the fourth. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Do you know what? There's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of park footballers who think, I could play a game of league footy, and I reckon I could put together a pre-season and get a kick and play a few games. But look at what Melbourne's done in the last month. They were gone. They were being humiliated, kicked. Anyone who had a pair of boxing gloves was having a go at Melbourne. Oh, they're gone, they're cooked. The way they've turned their season around is nothing short of inspiring, and they've left Sydney for dead today.
Bob Murphy with you on ABC Sport. Petrarca set up sharp with the last goal, and there was Clayton Oliver. So that key mover's getting involved. Back in the middle of the ground, Rivers tries to break away, but he's locked up by Isaac Heaney, and the umpire will ball it up. Now Melbourne's 14-16, 100 to the Swans 9-4-58. From the stoppage, spills out the way of Roberts. He's tackled by Sparrow. Langdon gathers, hand pass to Petrarca. Looks up towards Petty with a kick out wide in front of he and Fritsch. Fritsch runs onto it, draws the opponent. Hand pass to Petty at right half forward. Fritsch wants it over the top. Petty centres it to Cozzy. Pickett misses him. And Cleary takes the intercepting mark for the Swans. He's played on though as Pickett looms. Hand pass to Bice. Under pressure. Squeezing kick forward was Jordan to half back. Pushed off it was Hayward. Gathering it is Pete Laddams for the Swans though. Hand pass to Florent. Kicks up the wing to Heaney. Who takes the mark in front of Jake Lever.
Heaney feeds the handball to the run of Cleary, who gets it onto Adams. Adams shovels it over the top, back to Cleary. Tries to break the Salem tackle. Handball to Sheldrick. Sheldrick off a step. Kicks for Hamling in the pocket. Turner reaches up, swats it away. Throwing coming right forward pocket. And there is big breaking news out of the MRO.
Alex Pearce has been given a 3-match suspension by the match review officer, deemed as careless, severe and high contact. So now the case in the hands of the Fremantle Dockers, you'd imagine would certainly take it to the tribunal. From the throw-in, Gawn wins down the tap. It's sharked forward though by Sydney. Here's a chance for Cleary. Loses it though. Petrarca intercepts the hand pass back to Langford, who had to get a quick hand pass away. McVee's bumped off it. Free kick for a hold. And it's going to come back and be a Sydney free kick. Pete Laddams to take it out right half forward. Kicked a couple of goals earlier in the match. As he veers out to the left, sends it towards the teeth of goal. In the pack, McLean. Gawn sets himself in front. Hamling was dragged down. Umpire says a hold. It's going to be a Melbourne free kick. There's a little wrestle going on in the background with Heaney and I think Trent Rivers, but Max Gawn is going to get the free kick.
History of previous cases this year would suggest don't.
Yeah. Well, they need Peter O'Farrell. The father of Harry O'Farrell, who plays for Carlton. He's the Carlton...
Debuted yesterday.
Yeah, he's the Carlton lawyer who seems to get them off at every case they have, so get him in there. Throwing coming Right half forward, high half forward here for Sydney as Cozzy Pickett comes for a spell, gets a fair old cheer as well. Melbourne by 42 points, quarter hour mark, final term. Umpire brings it back in. Laddams and also Gawn. Laddams drops it, trying to take it out of the ruck. And we're not going anywhere. We'll do it again. Ball up this time, closer to centre half forward. Umpire puts it up. Laddams slapping it down, comes back to him, dumps it on the boot. Floated to full forward. Heaney beelines the football and marks it. Leaves a trail of destruction behind him. But he's got a 20 out, nearly directly in front.
Not much he can't do on a free field, is there, Isaac Heaney?
Heaney comes in, eyeing a third and pops it through. Back to 36 points, 14-16, 100. Plays 10-4, 64, 16 minutes into the fourth. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Your experts, Adam Ramanauskas and Bob Murphy.
It's a really tricky one, Bob, for Sydney. Yeah, at the moment they've got Cunningham, Papley, Francis, McDonald, Goulden, Fox out. All guys that would regularly play senior football. Maybe not Aaron Francis. But that allows Heaney then to play more forward, you know, when a Goulden's there.
It's more than the sum of each part.
That's right.
You one out affects the different, you know, the versatility in the setups you've got. So it looks like this season has just been one of those that they'd rather forget. The Sydney Swans, they'll be back again. They will reload at some point, I think. But I stand by that. I think the grand final really did just knock them around a bit emotionally, but they'll be back.
Isaac Heaney now with 3 goals of the match, 2 coming in the final term. Petrarca gets the clearance of Melbourne, chopped off by Sheldrick. He's tackled by Salem. Ball spills out the way of Oliver. Hand pass looking for Petrarca, couldn't gather. Sparrow fires towards goal from 45. He misses to the left-hand side. A 37-point lead the Demons' way as we tick towards time on in the final term.
Weiss with the kick in and kicks it straight to the D's. Chandler marks, looks inside 50, leading up. Johnson overshoots him. Sharp tries to go in behind. Florent does well, spills out, bursting through, snapping and goaling Sparrow. Ran straight through about 6 Swans. Swan through, so to speak.
He flew through.
Melbourne by 43, a new game high, 15-17, 107. Plays 10-4, 64, 18 gone in the fourth.
Yeah, again, it's that ball coming back central, albeit wasn't a perfect kick. But you know, Johnson, he hasn't had a lot of the ball today. What's he had, Johnson? Where is he? He's had 6 possessions. 6 possessions he's had, so he's near towards the bottom of the stat sheet. But he's playing a critical role inside Melbourne's forward line because he's competing. So there, you know, he gets an arm in and knocks the ball, and that allows Sparrow to come through and kick the goal. So
missed tackles kill you anywhere, but missed tackles in D50. Riley Bice would like that one back.
The Demons have had 10 individual goal kickers so far this afternoon as they're above the 100-point mark for this match. The second stoppage in the middle of the MCG. Braden Campbell is helped to his feet. Gawn and Laddams. Gawn wins down the tap, but it's sharp by Bice of the Sydney Swans. He looks to chip it out towards Hayden McLean. He's had a tough afternoon for the Swans. He wrestles with Turner. The ball clears the 2 of them. Now McLean reels it in, and he's tackled by Turner and Bowie, and a ball up at right half forward for the Sydney Swans. We mentioned Alex Pearce has been given a 3-match ban by the MRO. Jai Newcomb has received better news, a $10,000 fine for his tackle on Jared Berry.
10K.
10 grand.
Careless conduct, low impact, high contact.
Take the week.
Take 2.
I'll take 3, yeah.
Can they appeal?
10 grand.
Imagine going over to the missus. Oh, just let you know, I got fined 10 grand for tackling somebody.
Taking it out of the ruck, Laddams shovels a handball forward. Salem's there to win it back for the D's. Handball to Bowie. Handball to Langdon. Runs past the centre line. Members wing. Sends it up to half forward. Johnson goes up, doesn't mark. Sharp trying to spin. Keeps it in, but he slips over. Mills wins it. Handball for Rampy in the back pocket now, Sydney. Back towards Mills now. Florent does well to get a handball away. Sheldrick set upon. Back to Florent. Under pressure here, though, Sydney. Back to Mills, and he'll swing a kick out wide, out to the southern wing, and Hamling, he runs into mark backward of halfway.
He kicks up towards the wing where the mark is taken by Lloyd. Comes inboard to Brodie Grundy. Fires the hand pass to Bryce. Just has to get over Bowie. Can't do so. Bowie knocks it down. Lloyd can't gather. Melbourne have won everything this afternoon. And Chandler wins this battle. Hand pass to Sparrow. Kicks up to Petrarca. It bounces off his chest, but he has enough time to regather. Tries to put it out in front of Bailey Fritsch. He slides to his knees, trying to get away from Florin.
Yeah, he did. He grabbed his ankle when he was getting up.
Ankle. So Bailey Fritsch gets the free kick at right half forward. He tries to come inboard to Chandler, but I think the umpire is allowing it to play on. So Chandler at right half forward, kicks long inside 50 in the direction of Langford, spoiled away from him. Bouncing ball for Johnson, taps it down to Sharp, had a false start, fires on his right, and this time curls through his second of the afternoon. So he is making his presence known, the sub. And he kicked a beautiful goal on the run. This time a snap across his body. And Melbourne's lead swells to 49 points. Nam 16-17, 113 to the Swans 10-4-64. And in this final term, the D's have looked to put down the foot. It's 5-3 so far.
The scoreline is starting to match what we've seen since quarter time, hasn't it, gents? The Demons have bounced back, and they've bounced back hard. They've been absolutely dominant, and they deserve this victory. They've shown a clean pair of heels against the Swans. This could... there's still room for this scoreline to blow out even further. They've still got a bit of life in them. They're playing hungry footy, and the Swans, they look like they're just about done.
Melbourne by 49 points. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Under lights now late in this game. Grundy following up his ruck work. Gets out a handball. Rivers goes in, paddles it out. Sharp leaves it behind. Rivers tries again. Now he swings a handball forward. Langdon runs onto it. Feeds it to Petrarca. He snaps on goal. He just got a little nudge as he snapped. The wrong side of the ball. Balloons out on the full.
So you had Petrarca. He's had a few shots today.
Certainly has.
Kick 1 goal, 2, and
at least one on the full, yeah.
I reckon he's had at least 5 shots today, Christian Petrarca.
It's
what you want. It's actually what you want from him.
Blakey looks to bring the Swans out of defence, kicks out in front of Hayward. Got contact below the knees against Jake Bowie, and the free kick will go the way of the Swans forward. Third time so far this season the Demons have put on over 100 points.
Well, an interesting little stat. So round 1 to 5, their average score, Melbourne, was only 60 points. Round 6 to 11, it's 90 points. So 5 more goals a game in this little period where they've really changed their game around.
With victory today, they'll move to 5 wins and 6 losses. They'll be just 1 win outside the top 8. As the Swans across half-back through Rowbottom, hand pass to Jordan, ridden to the turf by Bowie. Langford gets the Ed Langdon, gets the hand pass away to Windsor, kicks it to Melcham, who swings across the body and puts through another goal for the Demons. Jake Melcham with his second of the afternoon. And the Demons have put 16 goals past the Sydney Swans this afternoon. 16-17, 113. To the Swans 10-4-64. That's 6-3 so far in this final term. And that's 17 goals as the scoreboard was a little slow to update.
Love seeing the unselfish play there by Caleb Windsor. Could have blazed away. I don't think anyone would have held it against him too much, but he finds Jake Melcham short. Melcham hooks it around the body on his preferred right instead of the left that we've seen a little bit too much of today, but he slams it through. He's been solid today. And the Demons just looking ahead. I know we're still in the throes of this one, but they get St Kilda next week. And when you're a side on the charge like Melbourne, to play teams around your position on the ladder, that's exactly what you want. Yeah. So next week against St Kilda, that one's got a fair bit to it as well.
Rob is listening in, driving from Northampton to Carnarvon, listening to the footy. Loving the call as well. Great to have you with us, Rob, as we restart in the middle, tapping it down, Heaney. Well, not tapping it down, following up the tap there from Grundy, and then Rowbottom gets involved, squeezes a kick forward, picking it up, Florent, he's dispossessed, and Petrarca will clear with the kick up towards the wing. Over the head there of Rampy, and the ball tumbles out. And a throw-in to come Melbourne by 55 points, 25 minutes into this final term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
38,520 fans into the MCG for a Sunday afternoon. As the boundary umpire tosses it back into play. Gawn and Grundy tangle once more. Grundy palms it down to the front. And rolls end over end in front of Rowbottom and Campbell for a boundary throw in once more. 17-17, 119 to the Swans 10-4-64. It's thrown back into play. Grundy tries to with one arm palm it down. Running through was Petrarca, couldn't take the footy cleanly. Hand pass comes out to Rowbottom. It's a hand pass away to Roberts for the Swans. Kicks into the middle of the ground, asking someone to present. Hayward couldn't take the mark. It spills off his hand. Salem gets the hand pass to Lever, who slotted back in beautifully for the D's this afternoon. Kicks out to Langford on the members' wing. He looks up towards half forward. Sharp is the loose player, and he rises in front of Melcham to take the mark. Roberts couldn't get back to offer support. Sharp veers out to the right, kicks in the direction of Bailey. Fritsch in the pack is Petty, and Fritsch juggles the mark. All of Melbourne's key movers are starting to get a lick of the ice cream now, and their confidence is growing as Bailey Fritsch takes a good contest mark.
Yeah, it's a good mark. It's when you know Bailey Fritsch is going okay, when he starts to take those pack marks again.
There's been more than a few signs today, hasn't there? I loved his pressure and his appetite to run and compete early in the game. He's starting to get more reward as the game goes on, but they're a different side when he's up and running.
12 disposals, 1-1 for Bailey Fritsch as he comes in and puts through his second. And the Demons are on the rampage in this final term. As all of a sudden they put it 7-3 in this final term. 18-17, 125. The Swans 10-4-64. The Demons have now scored their highest score of the season so far.
It's good play, Sharps. He's had an impact since he's come on. He's had really 6 possessions and 2 goals. He was the one that took that mark outside forward 50. You know, plays on quickly, gives his forwards a chance, puts the ball to a dangerous spot. Like, I hate those kicks when they're outside 50 and they go to the forward pocket. It's just a dead zone. It's such a dead zone.
It is, isn't it?
Coaching.
I just want to punch it to the boundary, lock it in.
Put it there and we'll start again, get it out of bounds and we'll lock it in. Yawn, boring. Play to win.
Gawn and Grundy again. Grundy tapping it down. Shark though by Warner. Sydney with the inside 50 on the Warner kick. Underneath it, Turner. Takes it for Melbourne. Kicks out to the wing. Lindsay going back with the flight. Drops the mark. Recovers at ground level. Back feeds a handball away to Judd McVie. Back to Lindsay. Moves it on to Langdon. Always out on those wings. Kicks infield. Shockingly, really.
Been a few of those today.
Yeah, coughs it up. Hayward knocks it to Sheldrick. Sydney go inside 50. McLean and May. Neither can mark. Ricochets off May. Going in Adams, though. He's got plenty of room. Goes back to Cleary. Time to steady. Shoot on goal and miss to the right. Melbourne by 60 points. 10 goals neat. 5 minutes to play. 18-17, 125. Plays 10-5-65.
It's actually really hard to think of a period of 10 minutes in this game where Sydney have had the ascendancy.
Well, particularly when you've been trying to think of significant polls.
All day.
They had that period in the third quarter of the Swans where they got back within 16 points.
Yeah.
That feels like a long time ago now. McVie kicks the Demons up towards half-back. No mark claimed by Melcham. Rowbottom gets a hand pass forward to James Jordan. Kicks into the pocket, looking for Hayward. McLean elected not to fly. Brought down to the front. McVie just sockers it forward to Ed Langdon. It's the hand pass out to Clayton Oliver. He's had a good afternoon. Melcham was bumped over before the ball was in the proximity. Hamling brought it down. Onto it is Florin, and he's tackled over the boundary line by the Demons captain, Max Gawn. Getting a rounding applause in front of the faithful here on the members' side, the broadcast side of the G. The Demons by 60 points.
Just repeating the big news of the day. Alex Pearce given 3 weeks for his collision, bump, whatever you wish to call it, with Darcy Burne-Jones. Thrown on the wing and Gawn slapping it right down to the front. And Langdon wrapped up. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Rammer, but you look after Burne-Jones?
Yeah.
Have you spoken to him today? Is he going all right?
He's okay. He's okay.
That is good to know.
Yep, Dr.
Fisher.
Not a clean bill of health, obviously, but yeah, the symptoms. He's got symptoms, certainly, but he's okay.
That is very positive. My man Dr. Fisher would be looking after him as Grundy slaps it on.
So Bob, we work with Ray Chamberlain on Saturday. Great, Ray. Between Ben and Ray, you've never heard two bigger name droppers in your life.
Just watch your feet when you get up.
In your life.
Well, I can't talk for Ray.
Oh, Ray's just got to drive by LinkedIn with Benny.
You would be exhausted when you go to bed, Benny. You speak to so many people during the week.
Man of the people. Ball stuck underneath Christian Petrarca and also Sheldrick, and the umpire will ball it up.
If it comes out that you don't know Paul Roos, it'll chill my bones.
I'm sure if Corbin hasn't been listening this afternoon, it's going to get back to him, and this will deserve a run tomorrow on the podcast. You can catch it, of course, on the ABC AFL Daily Podcast as Melbourne through Sharp, tackled by Rowbottom, and no chance to break away from the stoppage. Unless he invites you to his house in Hawaii, Ben, I'm not sure you're necessarily on the inner sanctum. As it's thrown up, Gawn and Grundy. Grundy palms it down. Sharp runs into Brodie Grundy, who wrestles him to the turf, and the umpire will ball it up.
I do speak to people, thanks, Rama. I'm like screening them like you. Head down.
Oh, yeah. Only you, Ben.
Gawn taps it boundary side out after it. Here's Langdon. Melbourne by 60 points, which is probably why we're having a few sidebars.
Well, we've got a bit of time after the game, but it's a baptism of fire to coaching for Dean Cox.
Yeah, it is.
It's hard work, this caper.
They're going to slip to 4 and 7. Melbourne are going to improve to 5 and 6, and he's seemingly right back in the year. Grundy and Gawn have a wrestle, holding free kick. Which way will the umpire point? It will go to Grundy. So Grundy to have it.
And Shane in Kothsar has been in touch on the SMS 0437 774 774. Still waiting to see something that convinces me that Dean Cox can coach at this level.
No doubt he can coach, but yeah, it's hard work.
Swan fans in frustration are starting to ask Melbourne by 60 points as Max Gawn thought he claimed the mark, was called to play on. Chad Warner gathers, kicks off the outside of the boot, and the classy finish as he sends through his first of the afternoon. And the margin is back inside 10 goals. Now the Demons leading by 54 points, 18-17, 125. The Swans 11-5-71.
This will be a loud cheer here, Bob.
As we welcome
both of them.
We've got the double here, Cozzy and Max. Max just slowing up just so he can make sure he gets his solo stuff.
Right, as our Melbourne local radio's audience rejoin us here at the MCG. Matt Clinch alongside Ben Cameron, Lauren Borton down on the boundary, Adam Romanascus and Bob Murphy, your experts. The Demons lead by 54 points. When our local radio audience left us, it was the game was still in the balance in the third quarter. I think the Demons led by 22 points. It was 36 points at three-quarter time. And the Demons in the final term have been able to charge clear 7-4 in the final term to lead by 54 points, in which Cozzy Pickett has booted 5.
Back in the middle, Grundy spiking it forward. Salem comes off the line to win it, gives it off to Oliver. Petrarca in game 200. High kick inside 50 for the D's. Melksham can't mark. Sharp Robes gets it on the boot. Kicks into the pocket. McCartan there for Sydney. Handball away towards Warner, to Blakey, slips a handball through to Adams. He swings it on to Florent, who gives it to Sheldrick, steps around Lever. He'll kick up to half forward. Hayward marks, no one on inside 50. Cleary offers short. Rowbottom offers deep. He heads towards the ladder into the pocket, McVie. Bob's up in front of Rowbottom, marks in the back pocket for the D's.
Judd McVie switches across the face of goal. The mark was dropped by Lindsay. Has enough time to regather as Corey Warner runs at him. He'll go all the way back to the defensive goal square, where Turner takes the mark. Do you like him as a defender, Rama, rather than a forward, Daniel Turner?
Oh, well, he hasn't really needed to defend today, so it's sort of hard to have an opinion, but clearly they're going to persist with him. So he's playing, I reckon it's about his 5th game now as a defender, so he looks okay.
The Demons have worked it to half-back. Harvey Langford takes the mark. He turns and comes inboard to Stephen May.
The problem he's going to have now is with Lever coming back into the team.
May puts it out in front of Langford, who didn't have to break stride. Kicks out to half-forward, where Melksham takes the mark on his chest. At left half-forward, where the 50-metre up meets the boundary. Veers out to the right. He's got eyes on the big sticks. He goes for home. Can he clear Blakey on the goal line? I think he has. And Jake Melksham is rejoicing in front of the Demons faithful as he puts through his third. And it does have that sort of celebratory feel about it for Melbourne fans this afternoon. Narm by 60 points once more. 19-17, 131 to the Demons, to the Swans, 11-5-71. Jake Melcham has done a lot of the heavy lifting inside the forward 50. I don't think there was any other option than going for home there.
Well, and he's in his right, I think, to go for home. He had a look inside, nobody there. So have a go, Bob, I think.
I think from that sort of spot on the ground, if you kick it, it was the right call. If you miss it, we'd probably have a chance.
Have a go at him if he misses it.
It's the ultimate defence, isn't it?
How long was this final quarter penalty? We're going home at that stage?
30, coming up to 36 minutes.
You guys are obsessed with your metrics, the height of the post, the length of quarters.
This is why we need to keep the clock running when it's a behind and out of bounds.
But it's all slowing us from the pool chat. I really want to get back onto this pool chat.
And then you're the one getting up at 4:30 in the morning.
Grundy with the tap. Out to Adams, who gets it onto Warner. Then Campbell into the pocket for Sydney, and McLean has it on his chest. 35 out, 45-degree angle.
Yeah, 4:30 is an early start, Bob.
Well, 3:30 is an early alarm when it goes off.
Wow.
Hayden McLean, his drop punt from the pocket is through. A late consolation prize for Sydney. Melbourne by 54 points, 19-17, 131. Plays 12-5-77, 36 and a half minutes into the fourth.
Well, you know it's late in a quarter or late in a game when the Seagulls have entered the building. So there's plenty in here, which is it's very rare because they've got all these...
Fascinated by the technology with the Seagulls here at the MCG. They've got the wires that go across and it keeps the Seagulls out until they don't. And it's almost as if once one goes under, the jig is up, and in they come. And then the wires they perform more of a roof than anything, and now they're trapped in here.
We're up to 37 minutes in this quarter.
9 individual goal kickers for the Swans, 10 for the Demons.
We're 9 minutes past the top of the clock, which is when the news starts on free-to-air, so they won't like how long the game's running.
They certainly won't. Hayden Johnson's given away the free kick for the Demons in the ruck, replacing Max Gawn, and Grundy kicks inside 50. No mark claim. Roy Bottom gathers to the Swans. Hand pass to Campbell. Here's another one. Across the body. Puts through the Swans' 13th goal. Stop the clock once more. 37 minutes gone in the final term. Campbell had one already. So still 9 individual goal kickers for the Sydney Swans. 48 points is the Demons' lead. 19-17, 131 to the Swans' 13-5-83.
Yeah, well, a couple of late goals. You always want to try to find some momentum or positives going into the next week there. So, goodbye, Rowbottom. Just a little handball out to Campbell.
Well, it beats the alternative.
Sure does.
It doesn't mean a hell of a lot, really.
14 goals in the final term. 8 goals to 6.
So that's 14 minutes that it will add on when we have that many goals. So
this is fodder for you and Ruzi. That 2-minute chat last week, that could balloon out.
Oh no, it's hit the post.
Oh no.
We've got a little reverberation.
That's added more time.
Snicko.
You better forewarn Ruzi. Could be in for a solid 4-minute chat around the time wasting after a...
We could have a 40-minute quarter here.
Surely not.
We're on track for it. It's taking the umpire a fair while to get the ball back.
This is a huge moment in your life. How excited is he? We're about to break the magic 40 minutes.
What can I say, Bob? I love football. I love what I do.
This is like the 4-minute mile.
May in the pocket. He'll kick up to the wing over the head of Bice. It tumbles out towards the boundary line. It will stay in play. It will go out of bounds.
Stop the clock.
The clock will stop. It'll keep rumbling for a while, and the Rucks will have to get into position. Boundary umpire turns around, make sure they've picked out who's who. Yep, now we're ready. Umpire flings it back in. Grundy slaps it down. Petrarca has the football, comes out to Oliver. Handball away towards Langdon. And the D's are beginning to believe in 2025. While Sydney's season is taking a swan dive, Melbourne by 53 points over Sydney. 19-17, 131. Plays 12-6, 78.
It's a grand old flag, it's a high-flying flag, it's the emblem for me and for you. It's the emblem of the team we love, the team of the red and the blue. Every heart beats true for the red and the blue, and we sing this song to you. Should all acquaintance be pulled up, keep your eye on the red and the blue.
So Nam, the Demons, they celebrate Christian Petrarca's 200th with a win. The goal kicker's Cozzy Pickett. He was the star of the day. A handful he kicked, and that's exactly what he was for the Swans. 3 to Melksham, 2 to Fritsch, 2 to Sharp the sub, 2 to Sparrow, and then singles to Petty, to Oliver, to Gawn, the milestone man Petrarca, and a single as well to Salem. While for Sydney, 3 to Heaney, 2 to Latham, singles to Hamling, Blakey, Campbell, Mills, Haywood and Warner.
The Demons song in the First Nations language after Nam led by 8 points at quarter time, by 22 at half time, by 36 at three-quarter time after Sydney got back within 16 points, and then 8 goals to 6 in the final term. And the clock stopped at 39 minutes and 44 seconds in that final term in front of 38,520 fans. The Demons are just a win outside the top 8 at 5 wins and 7 losses, while for the Swans at 4 wins and 7 losses. It is a long way back in Dean Cox's first season. For a lot of our audience on local radio, you'll be heading to the match between Euro Europe, the Saints, taking on the Gold Coast Suns, where it's in the third quarter there, and the Saints are trailing 5-5-35 to the Suns 9-3-57, in which Cooper Sharman has put 2 goals for the Saints and 3 goals to Ben Long for the Suns. So for our listeners through local radio there, we bid